Chapter 832. Wang Daoyuan couldn't help but sigh. These godly beasts were indeed the favorites of heaven and earth. They could actually obtain spiritual power from the sun. This was only a minor divine ability, yet it had such power. When it broke through to the fifth stage, the minor divine ability would become a divine ability, and its power would increase greatly. In the future, the red-feathered crow wouldn't have to worry about consumption when fighting during the day. He asked the red-feathered crow, "Do you still need to prepare anything? If not, let's go to the sky-beheading mountain range and prepare to break through to the fifth stage. I've already prepared the fire attribute demon core for your breakthrough." "Thank you, Father. I have nothing else to prepare." The red-feathered crow saw Wang Daoyuan the moment it came out of its shell. Ever since it could communicate with its divine sense, it had always called him father. Wang Daoyuan had tried to correct it many times, but it was useless, so he simply ignored it. Anyway, he already had Wang Mingchen as his son. It wasn't a big deal to find him an older brother with the golden crow bloodline. Wang Daoyuan took the red-feathered crow and headed east. When they arrived near the sky-beheading mountain range, they found a relatively flat area on the mountainside. The red-feathered crow stood on this flat area and ate a fire-red demon core. It spread its wings and absorbed the power of the sun. It was 1:15 noon, and the sun had already passed through the sky-beheading mountain range. The sun was getting stronger and stronger, and the fluctuations of spiritual power on the red-feathered crow's body were getting stronger. Spirit beasts were different from humans. They didn't need to form their nascent soul, so they didn't need the 5-element spiritual items. The red-feathered crow refined the demon core while absorbing the power of the sun. After an hour, its spiritual power suddenly increased and reached the level of a low-tier 5th-stage demonic beast. At the same time, the fluctuations of the power of law became stronger. It had already broken through to the 5th stage. Tribulation clouds soon appeared in the sky and quickly expanded. It expanded to a diameter of about 300 miles before stopping. After a quarter of an hour, a fire-red lightning bolt fell from the sky. The red-feathered crow opened its mouth and spat out a huge fireball, which smashed towards the lightning. The lightning and the fireball collapsed at the same time. The red-feathered crow was unharmed and began to absorb the remaining spiritual power. The power of this heavenly tribulation was not inferior to the 5-element heavenly tribulation of human cultivators. The red-feathered crow was able to withstand it without being injured. Its strength was already superior to most human cultivators. Even when he had just formed his nascent soul, his strength was only at this level. The heavenly tribulation for demonic beasts to break through to the 5th rank was also 5, but it was not divided into the 5 elements like for humans. Although the human clan was not like the divine beasts who were born with the potential to cultivate to the earth immortal realm, they were still extraordinary. Even if the 5 elements were incomplete, during the nascent soul formation stage, the cultivator would use spiritual items and heavenly tribulations to complete the 5 elements. Demonic beasts' heavenly tribulations were only of the same attribute as their own spiritual power. There was no chance for them to complete the 5 elements. The red-feathered crow was of the fire attribute, so its 5 heavenly tribulations were also of the fire attribute. The 5 heavenly tribulations had the same spiritual energy, and their power was exactly the same. If the red-winged crow could withstand the first one, the remaining 4 wouldn't be a problem. 2 hours later, all 5 heavenly tribulations descended, but the red-winged crow was unharmed. Because it had absorbed a large amount of heavenly tribulation's power, not only was its spiritual energy not severely depleted, it was even more abundant than before. It refined the power of the heavenly tribulation in its body to strengthen its monster core and physical body. 15 minutes later, the tribulation clouds surged violently. Soon, a fireball with a diameter of 3 meters fell from the sky. The red-winged crow didn't take this fireball seriously. It also imitated the heavenly tribulation and shot out a fireball. However, its magic was still much weaker than the heavenly tribulation. It shot out 2 fireballs in a row to disperse the heavenly tribulation's fireball. Before the next attack arrived, the red-winged crow also absorbed some sunlight. After a few minutes, a golden sun fell from the sky. The red-winged crow didn't dare to be careless. It used its divine ability to transform into a red and gold sun. At this time, Wang Daoyuan's surroundings were obviously cold and dark. The surrounding sunlight was rushing toward the red-winged crow. With the external supplement, the red-winged crow's strength increased. The 2 suns chased and collided under the tribulation clouds. Occasionally, the suns would extend their claws or beaks to attack the opponent. 15 minutes later, the red-winged crow couldn't hold on any longer. The red and gold sun also completely dissipated. The sun formed by the heavenly tribulation didn't give up and smashed into the red-winged crow's body. Then, the heavenly tribulation sun turned into a 3-legged golden crow. It spat out golden flames from its mouth and surrounded the red-winged crow. The red-winged crow didn't give up and continued to devour the golden flames. After an hour of stalemate, the heavenly tribulation golden crow dissipated. Only the golden flames were still burning around it. The red-winged crow's situation couldn't be seen clearly. At this time, the tribulation clouds in the sky began to change from black to purple and gold. The heavenly tribulation's power also began to dissipate. Wang Daoyuan was relieved. At least the red-winged crow was still alive. Wang Daoyuan released his Yinglong avatar. It flew to the red-winged crow's body and began to devour the golden flames of the heavenly tribulation. At the same time, he also released his red sun primordial fire to try to devour the flames. After all, the flames formed by the heavenly tribulation were very close to the real sun primordial fire. Absorbing some of the flames of the heavenly tribulation into the red sun primordial fire was more or less beneficial. For example, the red sun primordial fire seed in the spiritual pearl space absorbed some of the flames of the heavenly tribulation when the red-winged crow broke through to the 4th stage. The golden color in the flames was more than the seed fire. A huge amount of red sun primordial fire poured out of Wang Daoyuan's body and devoured the flames of the heavenly tribulation. After a quarter of an hour, the golden flames of the heavenly tribulation were completely devoured by the red sun primordial fire and Yinglong avatar. Wang Daoyuan absorbed the red sun primordial fire into his body and merged it with the fire attribute spiritual power seed. The red-winged crow's body was also exposed. At this time, all of its feathers had turned into ashes. His bare body had already been burnt to a crisp, leaving only some life energy fluctuations. A purple and gold ball with a diameter of 5 inches fell from the sky and merged with the charred body. The red-winged crow's vitality rapidly increased, and the burnt color on its body gradually receded, revealing a bald golden bird. At this time, purple and gold petals fell from the tribulation clouds. The red-winged crow absorbed these petals and began to grow black fur on its body. Some feathers drilled out of the fur and gradually covered the fur. In the end, the feathers on the red-winged crow's body recovered. In terms of details, there were still some differences from before. The current red-winged crow was almost exactly the same as the previous heavenly tribulation golden crow. The only difference was that the heavenly tribulation golden crow had 3 claws, and the red-winged crow only had 2. After the feathers recovered, the red-winged crow quickly woke up. He directly shouted, "Father, come and absorb some of the gifts of heaven and earth. I can't absorb too much." When a monster broke through to the 5th stage, even if it did not take the path of transformation, it could still speak human language. The red-winged crow's bloodline was extraordinary. When cultivated to the extreme, it was like the sun. There was no need for it to transform into a human form to cultivate. Wang Daoyuan did not find anything strange. He flew into the range of the gifts of heaven and earth and sat down cross-legged to absorb them. Yinglong's avatar had not been retracted. It had been desperately devouring the gifts of heaven and earth. At this time, a sharp cry came from the astral wind layer above. Which genius of the monster race can break through to the fifth stage at this time? The gifts of heaven and earth when a monster broke through to the fifth stage would definitely attract the attention of other monsters. It would be strange if no monster came to take advantage of it. Wang Daoyuan snorted coldly. Scram! The spiritual power in the astral wind layer paused, and then it angrily rebuked, "Reckless human, how dare you raise a fifth-stage monster? If you know what's good for you, quickly remove the master recognition. I can let you live. Otherwise, I'll make you wish you were dead." Wang Daoyuan looked for a long time and did not find the specific location of this guy. He only knew that it was hiding in the astral wind layer, and his divine sense could not explore too far in the astral wind. Where did this evil beast come from? You're like a plague chicken, not even daring to show your head. Come out if you have the guts, shut up if you don't. Before the voice fell, an angry curse came from the astral wind layer. You're the chicken, your grandfather is the phoenix. Chapter 833. This guy cursed, but he didn't come out. He wasn't in a hurry, so Wang Daoyuan was happy to be idle. The gifts of heaven and earth were extremely beneficial for healing the body and Yuanying's internal injuries, as well as increasing one's potential. This was also the reason why demon beasts and human cultivators liked to take advantage of the situation. Especially demon beasts with divine beast bloodline, the gifts of heaven and earth were also quite beneficial for stimulating the bloodline of divine beasts. This guy who claimed to be a phoenix was most likely attracted by the gifts of heaven and earth. He didn't speak anymore, quietly absorbing the gifts of heaven and earth. The few spiritual fires in the space of the spiritual bead were somewhat lacking in potential. The last time Zhou Wan went through the tribulation, absorbing the gifts of heaven and earth had almost healed the internal injuries of the body and Yuanying. For the time being, he didn't need to absorb too much, so he sent a large amount of the gifts of heaven and earth into the 5 spiritual fires in the space of the spiritual bead. These spiritual fires were directly related to the growth of the space of the spiritual bead. When they grew, the benefits were also great. Wang Daoyuan didn't speak anymore, but the demon beast in the astral wind layer couldn't sit still. That human brat, why aren't you talking, is he afraid? Wang Daoyuan still didn't say a word. The demon beast clamored again, if you have the guts, come up and fight with me for 300 rounds. Wang Daoyuan still ignored it. Whether I have the guts or not is up to Zhou Wan. What right does a mixed bird have to talk nonsense here? The bloodline of the red-feathered crow was extraordinary, and the gifts of heaven and earth were also extremely plentiful. Yinglong absorbed a lot of gifts of heaven and earth, appearing more agile. In particular, the 5 embryonic forms of the artifact spirits in his body had also improved a lot, and the law fluctuations were obviously strengthened. In the space of the spiritual bead, although the special energy of the secondary fire was far inferior to that of the mother fire, it was also obviously strengthened. Seeing the tribulation clouds in the sky getting thinner and thinner, the demon beast in the astral wind layer who claimed to be a phoenix became anxious. A white shadow swooped down from the astral wind layer. This guy's cultivation was at the upper grade of the 5th rank. Wang Daoyuan also felt a strong phoenix aura from this white shadow. With Zhou Wan as his Dao companion, he was still very familiar with the aura of the phoenix. As the white figure flashed past him, he waved his hand and shot out several bursts of sword chi. The white shadow was very agile and easily dodged the sword chi attack. At this moment, the speed of the white figure had also slowed down. A demonic bird with a wingspan of more than 10 feet appeared right above them. As he absorbed the gifts of the world, he revealed an intoxicated expression. It was covered in white feathers and had a short tail. There was even a bright red crown on its head. From the looks of it, it was simply a giant white feathered chicken. Wang Daoyuan wondered if the white feather chicken from his previous world had also transmigrated here. Or was its ancestor the white feather chicken that had ascended? White feather chicken Daoyu, are you going to scram or do you want me to catch you and make you into soup? Hearing this, the white-feathered chicken was furious. I'm a phoenix, not a white-feathered chicken. After saying that, he stopped absorbing the gifts of the world and dived towards Wang Daoyuan. Before Wang Daoyuan could make a move, the red-feathered crow turned into a golden sun. There was still a lot of red in the sun, but it was much less than before. Before the red-feathered crow reached the fourth stage, his flames were mainly red with a small amount of gold. After reaching the fourth stage, the red and gold colors were the same. Now, his flames were mainly gold with a small amount of red. The change in the flames was also due to the increasing concentration of his golden crow bloodline. The golden flames were also getting closer and closer to the sun primordial fire. Moreover, its appearance was similar to that of a real golden crow, except that it did not have 3 claws. The pure-blooded golden crow's strength was not inferior to that of divine beasts such as dragons and phoenixes. Even when facing the 5 elements divine beasts, it was only slightly inferior. For the red-feathered crow's bloodline to reach such a level, its strength might be far superior to that of a divine beast of the same level. The white-feathered chicken was very fast and was not much slower than the gray rock. The divine beast rock and the golden crow were the representatives of the fastest speed in the world. Only the sword immortal of the human race could barely compare with them. Wang Daoyuan was a little surprised that the white-feathered chicken could be so fast. The red-feathered crow turned into a sun and was naturally very fast. It was not inferior to the white-feathered chicken at all. A golden sun and a white shadow kept colliding in the air. Wang Daoyuan did not intend to make a move. The red-feathered crow had not made a move in a long time. Now that there was an opponent, it was a good opportunity for it to practice. The white-feathered chicken's cultivation was high enough and its speed was fast enough, but its combat strength was obviously not very good. Against the low-grade 5th-grade red-feathered crow, it could only gain the upper hand and could not win quickly. In the process of flying, it could not absorb too much of the gifts of heaven and earth. The red-feathered crow had absorbed most of the gifts of heaven and earth. A little more or less was not a big problem. The rest of the gifts of heaven and earth would be taken advantage of by Wang Daoyuan. He used his theurgy and included the entire range of the gifts of heaven and earth in his theurgy domain. A spirit chi whirlpool appeared in the air and most of the purple gold petals were sucked in by the spirit chi whirlpool. The white-feathered chicken took the risk to come down here to absorb some of the gifts of heaven and earth. Now, it could not absorb any at all and its life might be in danger. It wanted to escape, but the red-feathered crow did not let it go and entangled it. Wang Daoyuan naturally would not let it go. He waved his hand and released the black tortoise purgatory. The white-feathered chicken's speed was extremely fast. It dodged several times before the black tortoise purgatory was formed. He simply took out the sword of origin and slashed at it. The flying sword's speed was extremely fast and was even faster than the white-feathered chicken's. A silver light flashed past the white-feathered chicken's body, and it quickly dodged to the side. Its speed was extremely fast and it successfully dodged the fatal attack. However, under the sharp sword chi, a few feathers were still broken. Because they were not long feathers on the wings, it did not affect its flying speed. Under the joint attack of the red-feathered crow and the sword of origin, the white-feathered chicken was in a difficult situation. It was almost heavily injured by the sword of origin several times. After fighting for more than an hour, there were many wounds on its body. Its white feathers were stained with red blood and its speed was getting slower and slower. The sword of origin chased after it. As long as the sword could hit it, it would lose its life. Just as the sword of origin was about to hit the red-feathered crow, a silver light descended from the sky. This silver light was extremely powerful. It directly repelled the Sword of Origin, and the silver light also collapsed. A sharp voice came from the astral wind layer. "Dao Yu of the human race, it's a bit too much to bully someone with numbers." Wang Daoyuan was shocked. This silver light could actually repel the Sword of Origin. Although he did not use his full strength, it was enough to kill a 5th-rank upper-grade demon beast. The opponent's silver light should not be a divine ability. It could not be considered as using its full strength. The red-feathered crow is going through a tribulation. You came to snatch the gift of heaven and earth. Isn't that too much? Since you've made your move, you should be prepared that you won't be able to leave. Then, 10 sword shadows appeared out of thin air and attacked the white-feathered chicken again. A cold snort came from the astral wind layer. "Dao Yu, you're refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit." Then, dozens of silver feathers fell and blocked the sword shadows. Wang Daoyuan was quite familiar with these feathers. They were similar to the feather blades of the golden rock fighting dragon technique. They had the meaning of a divine ability. The guy in the sky should also have the rock bloodline. At this time, the purple-gold auspicious clouds in the sky gradually dissipated. The gift of heaven and earth had ended. He put away Yinglong. The 5 natal Dharma artifacts in his body had merged into the Yinglong demon-slaying sword and were ready to attack at any time. The red-feathered crow retreated to Wang Daoyuan's side, afraid that it would be killed in one blow. Without his entanglement, the white-feathered chicken escaped into the astral wind layer. The sharp voice came again. "This time, my junior is injured. If it weren't for healing, you wouldn't be able to leave today." Then, a white figure flashed through the astral wind layer and flew east. Without Yinglong demon-slaying sword, Wang Daoyuan was not confident that he could win. This guy was extremely fast, and his strength was unknown. Even if he used Yinglong demon-slaying sword, he was not confident that he could kill it in one blow. Yinglong demon-slaying sword was not suitable for prolonged battles. The possibility of being killed was very high. In the astral wind layer, humans were far less agile than demon beasts. Naturally, he would not chase after it. He just took the red-feathered crow back to Jade Spring Peak. Chapter 834. This demonic beast that had yet to show itself should be at the same level as him. To be able to use spells to fight against the Origin returning sword, it was at least at the peak of the 5th stage. Coupled with the bloodline of a divine beast, even a peak Yuanian cultivator might not be able to match him. After returning to the Jade Spring Peak, Wang Daoyuan immediately sent a message to Zhou Wan, his master, and the cultivators guarding the Archaic Mysteries sect. With the appearance of such a powerful demonic beast, there might be more of them. Although they did not have the ability to deal with peak 5th stage demonic beasts, they should be able to protect the sect with the help of the methods left behind by their ancestors. This was to prevent them from being ambushed and killed by the demonic beasts. With such an opponent that he was not confident of defeating, he had to increase his strength. It was still unknown how many such experts he would have to face in the future. If it was just one expert of such strength, it would not be a problem. Although the opponent was strong, it was not to the point where he could crush him. The difference in strength between the two sides was not big, so the opponent could not defeat him. Wang Daoyuan released the gray rock and the red-feathered crow to be on guard in the Wang family's territory in case they were ambushed. He himself was working hard to increase his strength in the underground cave. In addition to increasing his cultivation, he would also take time to comprehend the Origin returning sword diagram. The Origin returning sword diagram that he obtained in the 7 Stars Heavenly Palace's Ziwei Hall was left behind by the Origin returning sword Immortal. Comprehending this Origin returning sword diagram was extremely beneficial to the growth of his sword intent and the comprehension of new sword intents. His divine abilities were already strong enough to deal with multiple upper-grade 5th stage demonic beasts at the same time. But against a peak 5th stage half-divine beast, he could only guarantee that he would not be defeated. If he wanted to kill his opponent, it was not enough to rely on divine abilities alone. His current strongest technique was still Yinglong's demon-slaying sword. The power of Yinglong's demon-slaying sword depended on the strength of the 5 natal magic artifacts, the growth of the embryonic form of the artifact spirit, the increase of his own strength, and the strength of his sword intent. Natal magic artifacts could not grow quickly and could only be done step by step. The growth of the embryonic form of the artifact spirit was even more difficult. It would take at least a few decades for it to take shape. His own strength was also his cultivation. Naturally, he could not give up on this, but to break through to the next realm, he needed time. Previously, when he broke through to the mid-stage Yuanying, he was on a rank 5 volcanic island with a rank 5 spirit vein. He used his spiritual fire to burn a large amount of lava into spiritual energy for his own use. He even took dozens of nascent cultivating pills. Even so, it still took 10 years. Right now, he didn't lack nascent cultivating pills, but he didn't have enough spiritual energy. Even if there were 5 spiritual veins in the space of the spiritual pearl, it could not be compared to a rank 5 volcano. In a short period of time, his cultivation could increase slightly, but breaking through to the late stage of Yuanying was very difficult. The only thing that could improve quickly was his sword intent. Previously, he had used the White Tiger sword intent as his foundation and fused the killing sword intent, the imposing sword intent, and the penetrating sword intent. To improve the sword intent, it could improve the 4 sword intents that had already been fused, and it could also fuse new sword intents. Killing and penetration were mainly used to attack the opponent's physical body, while majestic sword intent was used to intimidate the soul. What he needed to deal with were demonic beasts. These fellows' souls were relatively weak. Using the method of intimidating their souls to deal with them was the most suitable. The White Tiger soul-subduing roar was barely enough to deal with an upper rank 5 demonic beast, and it was not very useful for a peak rank 5 demonic beast. Therefore, he planned to comprehend another sword intent that could intimidate the soul. When using Yinglong's Demon Slayer sword, the most frightening thing was not the lack of power, but not being able to touch the opponent. Previously, when he killed Snake Xiao in the Archaic Arcanum sect, he had dodged the attacks of the Sword of Origin, restoring many times. An upper rank 5 demonic beast could dodge many attacks, let alone a peak rank 5 demonic beast. Similar to the imposing sword intent were the Emperor sword intent and the soul-subduing sword intent. Comprehending these 2 sword intents was not difficult for Wang Daoyuan. After all, he was one of the leaders of the human race, and he had been an emperor for decades. He had the foundation to comprehend the Emperor sword intent. The soul-subduing sword intent could directly attack the soul, and it was connected to the White Tiger soul-subduing roar, so it was not difficult to comprehend. It didn't take much time to comprehend these 2 new sword intents. In less than half a month in the space, he had only comprehended 2 sword intents. Fusing them was not too difficult. A few months in the space was enough. The improvement was the most important. After cultivating in the Jade Spring Peak for 2 years, the spirit vein in the heaven/mountain range had completely reached the level of lower rank 5. Moreover, the rising momentum of the spirit chi had only weakened slightly. There was still a lot of momentum. When it stabilized, the spirit vein in the heaven/mountain range might grow to middle rank 5. Stabilizing did not mean that it would no longer increase, but the increase would be slower. It might take a few hundred years for it to be obvious. It would not be like now, where he could feel the spirit chi density increasing all the time. At the same time, other higher-grade spirit veins were also affected by the heaven/mountain range, and the spirit chi density began to increase. Master also sent news that spirit chi with the power of laws had already appeared at the Treasure Cauldron Mountain. It would not be long before it could support cultivators to break through to the Yuanying realm. The Wang family's territory was also affected. The spirit vein in Fallen Dragon Ridge had now been upgraded to lower rank 3. At the Purple Gold River branch, in the depths of the Heaven/Mountain range, there were already many level 5 spirit chi. The Jade Spring Peak had just leveled up, but the spirit chi density had increased slightly. On the other hand, the spirit vein in Qingli City had finally been upgraded to lower rank 4 after integrating with the 5 elements essence for several years. Moreover, the speed of improvement did not decrease. Instead, it showed signs of gradually accelerating. Xiaofan also sent news that level 5 spirit chi had begun to appear at the Blood Shadow headquarters. It would not be long before it could support cultivators to break through to the Yuanying realm. If they were willing to take the risk, they could go to the Heaven/Mountain range to transcend the tribulation now. In the past 2 years, the demon race's activities had clearly decreased. It was obvious that they were preparing for a big battle. The demon race would not watch the human race's strength explode. A conflict between the two races could erupt at any time. What was lacking now was a fuse. At this moment, Zhong Zhenyang from Shanbei sent news that many demon beasts had gathered in the east of their fief. He captured a level 4 demon beast alive. After searching its soul, he found out that a demon beast was about to break through to level 5. This demon beast was Yan Hui from the Black Flame Tiger tribe. He was also Wang Daoyuan's old friend. Yan Hui was worried that the human race would get involved, so he invited a few demon race guardians who were on good terms with him. In the end, when the news spread, many level 4 demon beasts went to learn, and the result was a big commotion. Back then, when they were dealing with refined corpses, they had fought side by side and called each other brothers. However, in front of the greater good of the race, personal friendship was nothing. If the demon race had another level 5 demon beast, the human race would be in more danger, and their losses would be greater. For the survival of the human race and the Wang family, no matter how good their relationship was, they had to kill Yan Hui. Wang Daoyuan left the Grey Rock and the Red-Feathered Crow behind to watch over the house while he boarded a high-grade rank 5 flying boat and headed northeast. More than 2 hours later, the flying boat arrived at the place Zhong Zhenyang mentioned. At this time, there were no tribulation clouds, and Yan Hui had not started to transcend the tribulation. Zhong Zhenyang transmitted his voice to him, "Retired Emperor, I'm here." Wang Daoyuan immediately put away the flying boat, hid his figure, and came to Zhong Zhenyang's hiding place. After not seeing him for decades, Zhong Zhenyang was close to the end of his life, and his body was shrouded in a decaying aura. Zhong Zhenyang continued, "The place where Yan Hui is transcending the tribulation is in a valley 2,000 miles north. The demon race is also prepared, and there are level 5 demon beasts there. When I went to investigate before, I was almost discovered. I didn't dare to get too close, and I can't be sure how many demon beasts there are. It's easy now that you know where it is. I'll go and deal with them. You can go back first." Zhong Zhenyang looked like he wanted to say something but hesitated. Wang Daoyuan said directly, "If you have something to say, say it." He nodded. "I have a presumptuous request. Since the retired emperor allows me to say it, then I'll boldly say it. My lifespan has been exhausted, and I've collected some 5-element spiritual objects over the years. There are no seedlings in the clan who can break through to the Yuanying realm, so these spiritual objects are useless. I want to try to break my core and form my nascent soul. I dare to ask the retired emperor to protect me after dealing with the demon beasts." Chapter 835. Wang Daoyuan carefully weighed the pros and cons. If Zhong Zhenyang broke through to the Yuanying realm, it would be a good thing and a bad thing for the Yan kingdom. He also had a minor divine power, which would turn into a divine power after he formed his nascent soul. His minor divine power was to create countless ghost heads to attack the opponent's soul, which was very powerful against demons. When the human race and the demon race fought in the future, he would have one more helper. But if he formed his nascent soul, no one in the Wang family could stop him except for himself and Zhou Wan. Once he left in the future, there would be a situation where the minister was strong and the master was weak. The cultivators of the Netherworld sect were not easy to deal with. Once there was a situation where the minister was strong and the master was weak, they would inevitably have disloyalty. After weighing the pros and cons for a long time, Wang Daoyuan replied, "I can protect you, but don't forget who is the ruler and who is the minister." Zhong Zhenyang quickly bowed. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I'm willing to guard the northern border for the Yan Kingdom for the rest of my life. If I have disloyalty, I'll be destroyed by heaven and earth." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "Don't be happy too early. You have to prepare the Dharma artifact to withstand the heavenly tribulation. Besides, you have a minor divine power. After the 5 elements heavenly tribulation, there will be a divine power tribulation. Everyone who went through this heavenly tribulation had a slim chance of survival. Even I was seriously injured during the tribulation and fainted." Zhong Zhenyang was full of confidence. "Don't worry, Your Majesty. I've been preparing for more than 300 years to break through to the Yuanying realm. Back then, during the spirit qi tide in the hidden Dragon River, the spirit qi concentration was rising. I guessed that there might be level 5 spirit qi in Beiyuan Shuxian in the future. At that time, I thought that there might be a chance to go further, so I sent the Zhong family disciples to explore the ancient ruins in the sky/mountain range and collected a lot of spiritual items. I used the remains of a level 5 demon beast and my cultivation technique to refine a bone armor. After many years of nourishment, it shouldn't be a problem to withstand the 5 heavenly tribulations. If I can't use it, I can leave it for my descendants." This old man was really far-sighted. He had started planning a few hundred years ago. If you had such a thing, why didn't you take it out when the Zhao family reclaimed their country? A Dharma artifact that could withstand the Yuanying tribulation is much stronger than the seal of the Zhao state. Zhong Zhenyang mocked himself, "So what if I win?" At that time, retired emperor had the backing of the divine weapon pavilion, so I didn't dare to do anything to you. In the south, the Song Kingdom was still eyeing them covetously. The 3 major sects were not capable of great things, and the underworld sect was still controlled by the Luo family. If I take out this bone armor, even if I win, I will be jointly suppressed. My Zhong clan's descendants do not have any outstanding talents. After my death, this bone armor will be the Zhong clan's death talisman. If that's the case, why don't we sell the underworld sect and give the Zhong clan a way out? This old man was truly a wily old fox. He had truly hidden himself well. However, he had made the right bet. Back then, if he had helped the Netherworld sect with all his strength, with Luo Jiuyo's character, even if he had won, he would have tried every means to kill Zhong Zhenyang. At this moment, a black cloud appeared more than 2,000 miles to the north. The black cloud was still expanding, and soon, it had reached a diameter of 100 miles. Zhong Zhenyang asked, "Retired emperor, why don't we go over and end it now?" Wang Daoyuan sneered, "Don't play tricks with me. Let's wait for it to pass the tribulation, then we can loot it and grab some gifts from the heavens and earth. In your current state, even with the bone armor, it will be difficult for you to pass the divine tribulation. If you can get some gifts from the heavens and earth, your chances of passing the tribulation will be higher. If you pass the tribulation successfully, our human clan will have one more master." Zhong Zhenyang was a little embarrassed and his thoughts were seen through. He did not speak anymore. The two quietly waited for the result of the tribulation. More than 2 hours later, the 5 heavenly tribulations passed, and the tribulation cloud in the sky began to change to purple gold. Wang Daoyuan took out the flying boat and flew to the tribulation place with Zhong Zhenyang. Just before the tribulation cloud completely turned purple gold, they arrived at the small valley. In the valley, there were dozens of 4th-rank demonic beasts and a white-feathered chicken. It was the one that the red-feathered crow encountered during the tribulation. This guy's injury had healed, but now he dared to court death again. Wang Daoyuan drove the flying boat and did not hide. Naturally, he could not hide it from the demonic beasts. As soon as the white-feathered chicken saw the 5th-rank high-grade flying boat, it immediately flapped its wings and flew toward the astral wind layer above. Wang Daoyuan was still too far away to make a move. He could only watch it escape. The white-feathered chicken was gone, but the remaining demonic beasts could not be let go. These 4th-rank demonic beasts were all 4th-rank peak and high-grade. Most of them had the potential to break through to the 5th rank. Wang Daoyuan put away the flying boat, used the sky-splitting sword escape, and flew over the valley. The divine tribulation was launched, and all the spiritual energy in the domain was transformed into metal attribute. Subsequently, 36 sword shadows appeared out of thin air at the edge of the domain, surrounding all the 4th-rank demonic beasts. The sword shadows shuttled through the demonic beasts, and each sword shadow could take away a 4th-rank demonic beast. The white-feathered chicken, a 5th-rank high-grade demonic beast, had fled. These 4th-rank demonic beasts panicked and only knew to flee. A few demonic beasts who dared to resist could not even break a sword shadow. In just a few dozen breaths of time, this group of 4th-rank demonic beasts were all killed. Wang Daoyuan put away these corpses in passing and landed on the valley's ground. Zhong Zhenyang was dumbstruck as he watched from the side. The moment the 5th-rank demonic beasts saw him, they fled in panic. Several dozen 4th-rank demonic beasts were slaughtered to the last. He also had confidence in defeating these 4th-rank demonic beasts. But taking one down would also require half a day. At this time, a purple gold ball with a diameter of more than 2 inches fell from the magic cloud. The ball's target was precisely the protagonist transcending the tribulation, Yan Hui. At this time, he was already struck by lightning into a pile of charcoal. This purple gold ball's target was Yan Hui. It was very difficult for others to intercept it. If he killed Yan Hui now, this purple gold ball would also disappear. Wang Daoyuan might be able to stop it, such as directly receiving it with a spiritual bead. However, there was no need to expose his greatest trump card for such a small matter. He released Yinglong from between Yuanying's eyebrows to intercept the gift of heaven and earth. This guy was a 5 elements divine beast avatar. It was formed by the fusion of the power of the heavenly tribulation and the gift of heaven and earth. It should be of some use. After Yinglong flew out, it opened its mouth and swallowed the purple gold ball into its stomach. It was unable to absorb such a huge amount of the gift of heaven and earth, and its body constantly emitted purple gold energy. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly recalled it and sent it into the spiritual bead space. Yan Hui did not obtain any benefits, and it was impossible for him to recover. Seeing that Zhong Zhenyang was still in a daze, Wang Daoyuan shouted, "Why aren't you coming over to absorb the gift of heaven and earth? This is your only hope of successfully transcending the tribulation." He woke up from his daze and immediately flew under the magic cloud. At this time, purple gold petals began to fall from the sky. Wang Daoyuan looked at Yan Hui, who was about to die, and said, "Big brother Yan Hui, we once fought side by side. Unfortunately, the two clans are about to fight to the death. If you don't break through, there's no harm in sparing your life. Unfortunately, you just had to break through at this time. I know your character, and you will never submit to the human race. For the human race, forgive me for not being particular. Yan Kingdom's retired Emperor Wang Daoyuan, send big brother Yan Hui on his way." After saying that, he waved his hand and shot out a red and gold flame, burning the pile of charcoal to ashes. The following gifts of heaven and earth were used by the heavenly Tao to compensate for the damaged spirit veins and plants here. Even if the person transcending the tribulation died, the gifts of heaven and earth would not stop. Zhong Zhenyang hurriedly circulated his cultivation technique to absorb the gifts of heaven and earth. More than 70% of the gifts of heaven and earth were in the purple gold ball from before. At this time, purple gold energy was constantly overflowing from Yinglong's body in the spiritual bead space. Wang Daoyuan used his divine sense to control the energy and merge it into the five-element spiritual fire. He also drew out some energy and merged it into his yuanying, increasing the potential of his yuanying. 15 minutes later, the magic cloud dissipated. Zhong Zhenyang had absorbed a lot of the gifts of heaven and earth, and his body was full of vitality. He was no longer as lifeless as before. Wang Daoyuan took out a broken core grass. Take advantage of the fact that the gifts of heaven and earth have not completely dissipated, quickly transcend the tribulation. This is a broken core grass, it can help you break through the golden core. Chapter 836. Zhong Zhenyang took the broken elixir grass and asked, "Is this the broken elixir grass that can break the elixir but has no other toxicity?" Although it is a fourth-level spiritual medicine, it has a high requirement for spiritual energy. It is very difficult for it to grow on a fourth-level upper-grade spiritual vein. Moreover, ordinary cultivators don't need it. Therefore, no one is willing to cultivate this thing. Now, only the four top forces and first-class forces like Zhou Qin may still have seeds. If the retired emperor has a lot of these things, he can use them to refine poisons. You are also an alchemist, so you should know that the elixir of the demon clan is similar to that of the human clan. This broken elixir grass can break the elixir of both humans and demons. The elixir of a fifth-level monster has purer spiritual energy, but it is still an elixir after all, so it can't ignore the medicinal properties of the broken elixir grass. Even if it can't directly break the elixir, it can have a great impact on it. The broken elixir grass was not very useful, and not many people needed it. Wang Daoyuan didn't plant many of them, so he only planted a dozen at the edge of the spiritual bead space. He didn't want to use it to poison people. He just wanted to keep it for his family to break the elixir and form the nascent soul. Do you have the prescription for making poison with the broken elixir grass? Zhong Zhenyang took out a jade slip. This thing was obtained by the juniors of our clan when they went out to travel. It should be the inheritance scattered in the Valley of Beasts. They have been dealing with monsters all year round, so they are more experienced in this aspect. This prescription strengthens the effect on monsters, but it is not very effective on human elixir realm cultivators. Wang Daoyuan took the prescription and gave him a pill bottle. This is the 9-death resurrection pill used by yuanying cultivators for healing. Take one when you are injured during the tribulation. It will be more or less useful. After that, he left the valley to give Zhong Zhenyang some space. Zhong Zhenyang took out 4 monster cores, which were of the 4 attributes of metal, wood, fire, and earth. He was of the water attribute, and with these 4 monster cores, he could gather the 5 attributes. He crushed the 4 monster cores and swallowed them directly. After refining them, he didn't spit out the elixir. Instead, he began to run his cultivation method, and a vortex of spiritual energy with a diameter of hundreds of feet appeared above his head. The golden core was the main source of spiritual energy for breaking the golden core to form the nascent soul, but some additional spiritual energy was still needed. He didn't have the assistance of a grade 5 Fey, so he could only rely on absorbing spirit qi from the outside world. The process of absorbing spiritual energy might take a few days. This was also the reason why most cultivators wanted to find spiritual objects to assist them in breaking through to the nascent soul stage. Just sitting there for a few days would cause quite a commotion. It was very likely that it would attract enemies. After consuming the 5-element spiritual items and refining them into the golden core, the spiritual energy in the golden core would become very heterogeneous. Not only would his strength not improve, but it would also decrease significantly. Without the protection of an expert, there was an 80% chance that he would die an unnatural death. With Wang Daoyuan here, there were no traces of demonic beasts within a radius of several thousand miles. Yinglong was still spewing out purple gold energy from within the space of the spirit pearl. After a portion of the spirit plants absorbed the energy, their grades finally improved. The hidden cloud T, which had been stuck at the peak of the 4th stage for many years, finally broke through to the 5th stage. The other spirit plants were still lacking. 3 days later, Zhongzhenyang stopped absorbing spiritual energy. He took out the broken core grass and swallowed it whole. A moment later, he opened his mouth and spat out the golden core. With the broken core grass's medicinal properties, the golden core shattered in just a few breaths. After the golden core shattered, the purple mansion appeared. This fellow's violet palace anomaly was a sinister ghost head with a thick black mist surrounding it. Without the assistance of spiritual herbs like the nascent soul fruit, forming the nascent soul was relatively slow. It took him an hour to form a nascent soul, which was 2 inches and 7 centimeters tall, from the gold core and the purple palace. This guy's talent was not bad. Lei Yan's Yuanying was only 3 inches tall. Moreover, Zhongzhenyang's cultivation technique and the fei he obtained were incomparable to Lei Yan's. In terms of talent, he shouldn't be weaker than Lei Yan. After the Yuanying was formed, a dark cloud appeared in the sky. Zhongzhenyang took out a set of armor. This armor was mainly refined from beast bones and had some dragon scales. All the materials were left behind by 5th stage demonic beasts. However, without the nourishment of spiritual energy for a long time, it fell to the peak of 4th stage. This armor also had some power of laws unique to 5th stage magic artifacts. Zhongzhenyang should have secretly nurtured it after the fei appeared in the sky/mountain range. After the armor appeared, it quickly shrank and put on the Yuanying's body. 15 minutes later, the tribulation cloud expanded to more than 100 kilometers in diameter. A green ball fell from the sky. The Yuanying activated the bone armor with all his strength and then used a divine ability to withstand the tribulation. The tribulation fell and the divine ability collapsed. The bone armor didn't suffer much damage, but it was slightly dimmed. It had to be said that the bone armor was not weak. It was even stronger than ordinary 5th stage magic artifacts. 2 hours later, all 5 tribulation clouds were over. The bone armor was completely destroyed and turned into a pile of bone fragments scattered on the ground. The Yuanying was also heavily injured. However, he had absorbed a lot of gifts from heaven and earth, which were very useful now. In addition, he had eaten a few 9 death soul return pills, so his injuries quickly recovered. 15 minutes later, the injuries on Zhongzhenyang's body had recovered by 80 to 90%. At this moment, a black aura fell from the sky. It contained extremely strong yin qi and death qi. The black aura enveloped Zhongzhenyang's entire body. This black aura had the effect of blocking divine sense. Wang Daoyuan also couldn't know what was going on inside. He could only see ghost heads emerging from the black aura from time to time. After an hour, the black aura calmed down. The tribulation cloud in the sky also began to change to a purple-gold color. Wang Daoyuan released Yinglong and let it devour the remaining black aura. Although the black aura was eerie, it was formed by the power of the tribulation. Yinglong had almost digested the gifts of heaven and earth that it had devoured previously. The 5 embryonic forms of the artifact spirits had improved greatly. At least 20 years of nurturing had been saved. Yinglong quickly devoured the black aura. In just 15 minutes, there was not much of the black aura left. The Yuanying heavenly tribulation of human cultivators didn't hurt the body, but Zhongzhenyang's Yuanying was intact and still had a lot of vitality. It was just that there was almost no fluctuation of divine sense power, as if only a shell was left. His magical power mainly hurt the soul. At this time, his soul should not be left. After passing the heavenly tribulation, with the gifts of heaven and earth, he could recover from any injuries. At this moment, there was a violent sound of wind breaking from the sky, and the sound of wings flapping. These monsters had endured for a few days, and now they finally couldn't bear it anymore. Soon, a strange silver bird descended from the sky. The reason why it was called a strange bird was that its head and neck were very similar to a phoenix. And below the neck, it was exactly the same as a rock. It should have the bloodline of both the phoenix and the rock at the same time. The rock was originally a variant of the phoenix clan. With the phoenix bloodline, it was not a mixed bird. This guy's wingspan was more than 1,000 feet, and its body had the metal attribute spiritual power fluctuation of the peak of the 5th rank. After a sharp cry, it swooped down toward Zhong Zhenyang below. Wang Daoyuan naturally couldn't let it succeed. He activated his magical power domain and instantly converted the surrounding spiritual power into the fire attribute and gathered it together. Red and gold flames were released, refining the spiritual power in an instant. The flames turned into a red sun, blocking above Zhong Zhenyang. Although the strange bird was strong, it didn't want to crash in. It changed its direction and attacked Wang Daoyuan, condensing a large number of silver feathers with spiritual power. Wang Daoyuan didn't dodge. He took out the origin returning sword, and countless sword chi condensed into a giant sword shadow, slashing at the strange bird. The strange bird hurriedly dodged, and the giant sword shadow was shattered by a large number of feathers. However, all the feathers were also destroyed. This time, the two sides were tied. The strange bird sneered. "Dao Yu, we meet again. My demon clan broke through to the 5th rank, and you snatched the gift of heaven and earth and killed it. Now, I'll do what you did again. You shouldn't have any objections, right?" Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "No problem, as long as you can beat me." Chapter 837. Gods would have a great increase in their control of laws. If the strange bird was a rank 6 monster that had yet to recover, it could easily injure him with its advantage of controlling laws and spiritual power at the peak of rank 5. However, the appearance of this strange bird also meant that those rank 5 peak monsters that had been sleeping for many years had almost recovered. If there were more old monsters, they would appear one after another. The strange bird stared at Wang Daoyuan for a while. "There's no aura of decay on you. You're about the same as an ordinary youth. You should be less than 500 years old. At such a young age, you've cultivated to the middle stage of yuanying. The growth speed of the human race is beyond the reach of divine beasts. With a cultivation level 2 lower, you can still fight me head-on without being at a disadvantage. You're also a peerless genius. If I don't get rid of you as soon as possible, I'm afraid you'll become a great threat to the demon race in the future." Wang Daoyuan also stared at the strange bird for a while. "You demons are too good at living. Someone like you, who is neither a phoenix nor a rock, most likely has the bloodline of the phoenix. Anyone with the bloodline of the phoenix has an especially long lifespan. If you continue to live, I'm afraid you'll be a threat to the human race for thousands of years." At the mention of the phoenix bloodline, the strange bird immediately perked up. "You have good eyesight, human boy. I'm the son of a rock and a golden phoenix. Without my grandson holding you back today, I'm afraid it's impossible for you to leave." Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was a little puzzled. "Your bloodline is not bad, but why does your grandson look like a white-feathered chicken?" The phoenix bloodline hated it when others mentioned chickens. After hearing Wang Daoyuan's words, it stopped talking to him and spat out several silver lights. Wang Daoyuan was also prepared. The blazing sun that he had condensed with his divine ability was still there. It flew over and blocked in front of Wang Daoyuan. Yinglong devoured a portion of the tribulation flames from the red-feathered crow's tribulation. Wang Daoyuan merged these flames into the fire attribute spiritual power seed. Now, the golden part of his red yang true fire had increased greatly. Although there were still more red parts than gold, it could barely be considered red and gold. Its gray did not increase, but the power of its flames had improved significantly. He also used his divine ability to transfer a large amount of fire spiritual energy into the blazing sun. Now, the spiritual energy contained in the blazing sun had far exceeded the spiritual energy that Wang Daoyuan could unleash with his full strength. In addition, the 5 elements restrained each other, and fire restrained metal. The silver light shot out by the strange bird entered the sun and quickly dissipated. The strange bird was a little surprised. Although it felt that the sun was strong, it was not strong enough to withstand its attack. It had only been a short while, but he was already able to receive his attack so easily. Domain divine ability is indeed extraordinary. Brat, you are truly cunning. While conversing with me, you even took the opportunity to increase the power of your spell. This time, he had learned his lesson. As he spoke, he continuously shot out feathers to attack the unconscious Zhong Zhenyang. Wang Daoyuan had no choice but to control the sun to block his attack. Seeing that the sun had been diverted away, the strange bird once again released silver light to attack him. His hands did not stop moving either. The blazing sun split into 2, one to protect Zhong Zhenyang while the other protected himself. The 2 of them fought for dozens of breaths. The strange bird had consumed a lot of spiritual energy and could only stop the blazing sun from becoming stronger. Seeing that it could not win with ordinary methods, the strange bird thought to itself, the spiritual energy in Beiyuan is not enough to support me to break through to level 6. There is no room for improvement. And this human brat's cultivation will continue to increase. If I let him go, I will not be his opponent in a few years. No matter what, he had to kill him this time. After making up its mind, the spiritual energy in its body boiled. Its body also slowly shrank. In the end, its wingspan was only about 10 feet. At this moment, its body was emitting a dazzling silver light. This light had already covered the blazing sun, making it look like a silver sun. Wang Daoyuan was also ready. Yinglong's demon-slaying sword had already taken shape and a large amount of spiritual energy was poured into it. Yinglong, who was in between Yuanying's eyebrows, also merged with the 5 weapon spirit embryos. The silver sun attacked him. He controlled a blazing sun to block it. The sword of origin in his hand also carried a large amount of sword chi to attack. These 2 were unable to withstand a single blow from the silver sun and were quickly defeated. At this moment, Wang Daoyuan's body was covered in dragon scales. The blood in his body was boiling. He had also put away his divine power and focused all his energy on the strange bird. When the 2 were a few hundred feet apart, Yinglong's demon-slaying sword suddenly appeared in his hand. The sword of Origin's sword intent burst out. The strong killing intent and the majesty that made all living beings submit made the strange bird timid. There was no turning back. At this moment, he had no way out. If he did not win, he would die. Wang Daoyuan held the sword with both hands and suddenly swung it forward. The silver sun just happened to be in front of him. An ear-piercing sound of metal clashing resounded through the sky. Even the purple-gold auspicious clouds in the sky were violently surging. The violent spiritual energy shattered the surrounding rocks. At the place where the 2 collided, a huge pit with a diameter of more than 10 miles and a depth of more than 100 feet appeared. From afar, one could only see 2 balls of silver light colliding. Then, they turned into 3 balls of silver light. One of the balls of silver light was split in half. The other ball of light flew backward for more than 10 miles, leaving a 3-foot wide and 3-foot deep ditch on the ground. It did not stop until it hit a small hill. There was a 3rd-grade low-grade spiritual spring on this hill, and the water was not small. The collision of the silver light caused a few rocks on the hill to shatter. The spring water changed its course and flowed towards the ditch opened by the silver light, finally converging into the big pit. In time, this big pit could become a small lake. This ball of silver light that opened up the ditch was Wang Daoyuan. He leaned against the hill and spat out a mouthful of blood. His internal organs were all impacted. If not for the fact that he had changed his cultivation technique and converted a large amount of spiritual energy into qi and blood to continuously strengthen his body, he would probably be at death's door. After panting for a while, he did not bother to heal his injuries and quickly put away the two halves of the strange bird's body. This strange bird's divine bird bloodline was not low. Every drop of blood was extremely valuable. The clone in the space also hurriedly began to deal with the corpse and store the essence blood. Wang Daoyuan swallowed a 9-death return elixir. Yinglong put away the demon-slaying sword and separated the azure dragon pearl to heal the injuries in his body. The origin-restoring sword that he threw out earlier was knocked away by the strange bird. Most of the inscriptions in the sword were destroyed. After all, the sword was a 6th-grade high-grade sword embryo that was personally forged by the supreme divinity Xian. At this time, it was undamaged. Wang Daoyuan put away the origin-restoring sword and took a few breaths. He muttered to himself, as expected of a divine beast bloodline. I have never met such a strong opponent. Fortunately, I made a lot of preparations. Otherwise, the one who was torn in half would be me. At this time, the tribulation cloud in the sky dropped a purple gold ball with a diameter of 5 inches and merged into Zhongzhenyang's yuanying. With the nourishment of the gift of heaven and earth, Zhongzhenyang's vitality and divine sense fluctuations were rapidly increasing. After half a cup of tea's time, his yuanying woke up. Seeing the mess in front of him, Wang Daoyuan also suffered heavy injuries. The yuanying cupped his hands at him and said, I can't repay your majesty's kindness even if I have to sacrifice my life. Please use the gift of heaven and earth to heal your injuries. Wang Daoyuan did not refuse. He flew under the auspicious cloud and absorbed the purple petals falling from the sky to heal his injuries. The gift of heaven and earth had excellent healing effects. Compared to it, the azure dragon pearl was not worth mentioning. After 15 minutes, the purple gold auspicious cloud dispersed and Wang Daoyuan's injuries were healed. Zhongzhenyang's yuanying returned to his body. He stood up and was about to bow to Wang Daoyuan, thank you for your protection, your majesty. Wang Daoyuan held him up, you are also a yuanying cultivator. You don't have to bow. In the future, guard the northern border of the Yen kingdom and be loyal to the Yen kingdom. I dare not forget your majesty's kindness. I will be loyal to the Yen kingdom and your majesty. Chapter 838. Zhongzhenyang and a few other clans were established at the Hades River, more than 20,000 miles north of the Jade Spring Peak. If the demons of the Arctic ice plains came south, this would be the first line of defense against the demons. If they were attacked by demons, Wang Daoyuan would be able to rescue them within 2 hours on the Grey Rock. However, Zhongzhenyang had just broken through to the yuanying realm and hadn't even cultivated a 5th-grade magic weapon. If they were attacked by a 5th-grade demon, it would be extremely difficult to hold on for 2 hours. Wang Daoyuan asked, can you set up a 5th-grade formation? If the Hades River is attacked by demons, I will need 2 hours to rush over. You will have to hold off the demons alone for 2 hours. If you don't have a 5th-grade formation, it will be difficult for you to deal with a 5th-grade demon beast. Zhongzhenyang cupped his hands and said, don't worry, retired emperor. I have been collecting the incomplete inheritances left behind from the ancient times. In addition to the foundation left behind by the Netherworld sect, I have also gathered a 5th-grade formation inheritance. I have never dared to relax on the path of formations all these years. I was already not far from becoming a 5th-grade formation master. Now that I have broken through to the yuanying realm, my divine sense has greatly improved. I should be able to set up a 5th grade formation. With a 5th grade formation and my divine ability, even if I am surrounded by 5th grade demon beasts, I am confident that I can hold on for 2 hours. Zhong Zhenyang's formation skills had never been weak. In addition, strange inheritances often appeared in the north of the mountain. It was not surprising that he could organize a 5th grade formation inheritance. Since you are confident, I am relieved. In the future, pay more attention to the demon's movements. If a demon breaks through to the 5th grade, do not hesitate to inform me. Killing demon beasts to snatch gifts from the heavens is still very worthwhile. Wang Daoyuan handed over a few more trivial matters, took out the flying boat, and returned to the Jade Spring Peak. This time, he had killed a 5th grade Peak Phoenix bloodline and fully recovered from his injuries. The harvest could be considered not small. The clone in the space was not idle either. It had already separated the essence blood. This strange bird's essence blood was at least 500 kilograms. The essence blood was stored in a special gourd to slow down the loss of essence. The gourd could not be kept in the space of the spiritual pearl. The flow of time was too fast, and the essence would soon be lost. He could only shrink it and put it in his sleeve. There were many gourds of origin planted in the space of the spiritual pearl, which he had obtained when he was in the foundation establishment stage. The highest grade of the Guiyuan gourd could reach was the 3rd stage of the middle grade. In the space of the spiritual pearl, with the nourishment of the spiritual fire, the 3rd stage of the upper grade of the Xianyuan gourd appeared. As far as Wang Daoyuan was concerned, the magic tools he refined did not have much combat value. They could only be used as high-grade containers. The blood essence of the rank 5 demonic beasts he had killed before was also stored in such a gourd. He didn't carry the gourd used to store his blood essence with him, as it was placed in the underground cave on Jade Spring Peak. The rest of the ordinary blood was left for the blood demon. The Yao core had also been sealed in a jade box and stored in his storage ring. With these methods, the blood essence could be preserved for dozens of years, and the Yao core could be preserved for thousands of years. The strength of this strange bird should also be at the top of the rank 5 demonic beasts. Yinglong's demon-slaying sword could kill him head-on. As long as he didn't encounter a rank 6 monster, there shouldn't be a problem. After killing this strange bird, the demons would probably restrain themselves for a few years. Even if other peak rank 5 demonic beasts appeared, they wouldn't dare to take the initiative to provoke him. This gave Wang Daoyuan time to improve. For the time being, there was no need to bother with any powerful killing moves. It was better to improve his cultivation as soon as possible. When his strength increased, all his special methods would also improve. After cultivating for more than 10 years, he should be able to advance to the late stage of yuanying. After returning to Jade Spring Peak, he also cultivated in the underground cave with the help of the fire eye. The recovery of spiritual energy had also had a great impact on the lava. The lava below the earth fire room had also been upgraded to rank 4. Moreover, the momentum of the spiritual energy in the lava was more obvious than that of the spiritual veins outside. When the earth fire room of Jade Spring Peak was opened, the spiritual energy inside was only of rank 3 upper grade. The array formations that were set up were also of rank 3 upper grade. Now that the lava had risen to rank 4, the original array formation was no longer enough to suppress the lava. However, Wang Daoyuan didn't have to do anything about this. His uncle Wang Shouzhe was already a rank 4 intermediate grade array master, and the array formation of this earth fire room had been rearranged by him. Now that it was a rank 4 intermediate grade array, it was more than enough to suppress the lava. If the lava exceeded rank 4 intermediate grade, Wang Daoyuan could rearrange it, and it wouldn't be a big deal. With the upgrade of the lava, it could provide more spiritual energy, and Wang Daoyuan's cultivation speed was faster. He was still the same as before. Yuanying entered the space of the spiritual bead to comprehend the Guiyuan sword diagram. Just as he was comprehending the Guiyuan sword diagram, in the fish pond outside the thatched hut, a 1-foot-long Qing River carp jumped out of the water and landed on the shore. Not only did it not jump back into the fish pond, but it kept jumping north. The north was where the Gui water death flame was, and the Yin energy was extremely dense. Ordinary spirit beasts couldn't bear it. Although this fish was not big, its cultivation had already reached rank 2 intermediate grade. Wang Daoyuan used his spiritual consciousness to check the bones and scales of this Qing River carp. In the end, he determined that this guy was only in his 30s. This was really a treasure. A spirit beast cultivated to rank 2 intermediate grade in more than 30 years, which was faster than most of the human race. 12th Uncle's arowana was nearly 2 feet long when it cultivated to rank 2 lower grade. At that time, it was also more than 30 years old. This Qing River carp was smaller, but its cultivation was higher. It was likely to be a dragon species. Yuanying flew out of the thatched hut and came to the Qing River carp. His spiritual consciousness probed into its body and checked carefully. Sure enough, this Qing River carp had dragon qi in its body. Moreover, it was a male fish. In the future, it could be sown in large quantities to increase the number of dragon species. 3 flood dragon corpses were buried in the space of the spiritual bead to increase the dragon qi in the spiritual vein. It took more than 200 years to cultivate the jade dragon algae. Now that a dragon species had finally appeared, it was not a waste of effort. 12th Uncle's arowana, after more than 200 years of cultivation, had now reached the peak of rank 3 and could break through to rank 4 at any time. Moreover, 2 forked dragon horns had grown on its head, but its head was still half fish and half dragon. This arawana's aptitude was better, so its cultivation should be faster. In addition to the time flow of the spiritual bead space, it should be able to cultivate to rank 4 very quickly. At that time, it would be more or less a helper, at least it could help suppress the monsters in the Qingli River water system. Lest these monsters become bigger and threaten the family's business. Moreover, it was only rank 2 middle grade and had dragon qi in its body. Its dragon blood concentration was definitely not low. There was no growth limit for the divine beast bloodline. Even if it was only an extremely thin divine beast bloodline, there was a glimmer of hope to become a divine beast. It was just that the resources needed were more. If it was the bloodline of other divine beasts, it would be really difficult to cultivate. Dragon species were the easiest to cultivate. After all, the old dragon was everywhere. Among the rank 4 aquatic monsters, there were many with dragon bloodline. Casually killing a few and refining bloodline pills could allow the dragon species to grow quickly. In addition to the time flow of the spiritual bead space, a rank 4 dragon species could be cultivated very quickly. Wang Daoyuan's Yuanying returned to his body and took a drop of blood essence. Yuanying returned to the spiritual bead space again with the blood essence and placed this drop of blood essence between the dragon species' eyebrows. Randomly casting the beast taming secret method in the 10,000 Beasts mystic tome, the blood essence was integrated into the dragon species' soul. With this secret method, he was not afraid that it would not accept. Moreover, Wang Daoyuan himself was also full of dragon qi. This guy was still very obedient in front of his Yuanying. After recognizing its master, he put this dragon species into the fish pond. Unexpectedly, it jumped out again and kept jumping north. Wang Daoyuan did not pay attention to it, wanting to see where its target was. He took this guy and jumped all the way to the northernmost lake in the spiritual bead space. The lake water here was gushing out of the Gui water nether spring, and the Yin Qi was extremely rich. Not only did this dragon species not feel uncomfortable, but it also seemed to enjoy it very much. It also jumped out of the water from time to eat the lotus seeds of the inky jade lotus. Looking at this posture, this dragon species was different from the dragon fish of the 12th uncle and the ancestor. It seemed to have mutated. Chapter 839. When the ice turtle was in the space of the spirit pearl, this was his territory, and Yun-Yi only dared to stay in the corner. Now that the ice turtle was gone, Yun-Yi became the overlord of the lake. At this time, Yun-Yi was lying on the curved surface, holding a lotus seed pod with her two front paws. Yun-Yi instantly felt that the lotus seed in his mouth was no longer as fragrant as before when someone came to snatch his food. Wang Daoyuan knew Yun-Yi's character very well. She bullied the weak and feared the strong. In the early years, she was domineering in the space of the spirit pearl. Later, there were stronger spirit beasts in the space of the spirit pearl, so she became obedient. This arowana is also my spirit beast. Don't bully it. Otherwise, I'll take you to the red sun real fire. Hearing this, Yun-Yi withered. Since it broke through to the third stage and awakened the soul-devouring dark tiger bloodline, it only liked to stay in the northern part of the space of the spirit pearl. It did not dare to approach the southern part of the space where the red sun real fire was. Needless to say, Dahe never bullied other spirit beasts. At this time, it was at the edge of the space of the spirit pearl, eating the demon soul grass. When the devil clan was exterminated, the demon soul grass obtained could increase the intelligence of spirit beasts. Over the years, Dahe and Yun-Yi's intelligence had increased a lot. They could fully understand what people said and communicate with their divine sense without any obstacles, but they still could not speak directly. Even the soul-chasing bee liked to come here to collect honey. It was much easier to communicate with the queen bee through divine sense. Yun-Yi, Dahe, and the soul-chasing bee king were all stuck at the peak of the third stage. Back then, the Valley of Beasts had vigorously cultivated Yun-Yi tiger and invested a lot of resources, but it failed to make Yun-Yi advance. It was not easy to make it break through to the fourth stage. Needless to say, Dahe was not ranked at all. It had been stuck at the peak of the second stage for many years. If it wanted to break through to the third stage again, its bloodline was also a big problem. Wang Daoyuan had a way to help Dahe improve. He killed a lot of spirit beasts in the West Sea, many of which had the bloodline of ancient beasts. In the depths of the West Sea, there was spirit qi similar to the primordial age. There must be special spirit qi in the blood essence and golden cores of these strange beasts. If he used the blood essence of these strange beasts to refine pills, such as the beast blood strengthening pill, he might be able to activate the heavenly dog bloodline in Big Black's body. Wang Daoyuan was too lazy to do such a thing. While the Grey Rock was patrolling the area, he would bring the demonic beast's blood essence and supplementary herbs to Wanshuan Market. Jiaqi's alchemy and smithing skills were both at high-grade tier 4, it was better to let him train a bit more. After refining the pills, he would let Hui Peng bring them back. Dahe and the other two were stuck at the peak of stage 3, but the star-patterned sea cucumbers in the seawall were growing very fast. Now, there was already a 4th-grade low-grade sea cucumber with 3 star patterns on its body. Although the star-patterned sea cucumber was not big, it was still a demonic beast and had a demonic core in its body. With this star-patterned sea cucumber, he didn't need to go around hunting demonic beasts. He could continuously obtain demonic cores. Of course, killing a rank 4 sea cucumber was too much of a waste. It wouldn't be too late to kill it when it reached rank 5. 1 year later, nearly 80 years had passed in the space of the Spirit Pearl. The cultivation of the mutant arowana had also improved to low-grade tier 3. After the breakthrough, a golden reverse scale appeared under its jaw. The scales on its body were no longer red, but pitch black, and there was a strong yin qi on its body. There were many types of dragons, and many of them carried yin qi. It was still hard to say which lineage this black dragon fish belonged to. However, Dahe had been constantly taking pills refined with the blood essence of exotic beasts, and there were obvious changes. Its size had increased significantly, but it could shrink its body, so it didn't have much of an impact. Its talent of devouring spiritual qi had obviously improved, and its devouring speed had doubled. It seemed that the beast blood strengthening pill refined with the blood essence of Archean exotic beasts had some effect on it. The beast blood strengthening pill was only used to strengthen its physical body and activate its bloodline, which had little effect on its cultivation breakthrough. It was not like the bloodline pill, which could directly help it improve. If he wanted to refine the bloodline pill, he would have to directly find an exotic beast with the bloodline of the heavenly dog. This was too difficult, and there was basically no hope. It was good enough that the beast blood strengthening pill was useful. If he improved slowly, he would be able to break through in the future. At this moment, his second brother, Wang Daoxing, sent a letter saying that he wanted to see him. Back then, his second brother's cultivation technique was too weak, so he didn't awaken the Purple Mansion phenomenon. Therefore, he didn't receive any special training and had been working in the Wang Mansion. Later on, more and more disciples in the family established their Purple Mansion, and he was slowly marginalized. However, his spiritual root talent was quite good, comparable to his fifth granduncle, Wang Daoyuan, and Wang Mingshan. Even if he didn't receive special training, after so many years, he had cultivated to the late stage of the Purple Mansion realm. Since his second brother wanted to see him, Wang Daoyuan naturally had to meet him. He went to the abode on the ground, and Wang Daoxing soon brought a young cultivator over. As soon as he came in, the young cultivator wanted to kneel and salute him. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "We're family, there's no need to be so polite." Wang Daoxing looked a little embarrassed. "Seventh brother, this is Mingfeng's son, Digong. He's in his 70s and is already at the 7th stage foundation establishment realm. He's a cultivator with 2 spiritual roots, and his main spiritual root is an 8.3-inch metal spiritual root. When I established my Purple Mansion, I didn't have a Purple Mansion phenomenon because my cultivation technique was too weak. Now, there are many metal attribute cultivation techniques in the family, but there aren't many that are really good. This child cultivates the Guiyuan Sword Codex, but it's not perfect. I want to ask you to teach him a more perfect sword cultivation technique, so that he won't walk the same path as me." Wang Mingfeng was Wang Daoxing's eldest son and had medium talent. He had already established his Purple Mansion and was working in the Yan Kingdom's imperial court. Wang Digong had an 8.3-inch metal spiritual root and was a cultivator with 2 spiritual roots. He was a rare genius. Even though the Wang family had many cultivators, there were still many geniuses. Wang Digong's talent could be ranked in the top 10. Such a disciple naturally had to be nurtured well. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Digong, use a few sword cultivation techniques to attack me." Wang Digong cupped his hands and said, "I'm sorry." Then, he used the myriad sword art and condensed more than 30 sword shadows. Wang Daoyuan reached out and blocked the sword shadows. He probed with his divine perception and found something strange. There wasn't much killing intent in his sword shadows. Instead, it was a little strange. It wasn't suitable for a head-on confrontation. Instead, it was suitable for sneak attacks. Wang Daoyuan had obtained the Sword Immortal's inheritance and knew more about sword cultivation. Naturally, he knew that sword cultivation didn't only need hotheads. As long as one had the confidence to win, anyone could walk the path of sword cultivation. This grandnephew could comprehend the Sly Dao sword intent in the future and was suitable to be an assassin. Wang Daoyuan chatted with him for a while and found that his personality was completely different from his second brother. His second brother was recognized by the entire family as a simpleton, but this little guy was full of twists and turns. This personality was very suitable to join Blood Shadow. With this talent and the support of the family, it wouldn't be a problem for him to enter the upper echelons of Blood Shadow. He let the clone in the space of the spirit pearl engrave a jade slip and then handed it to Wang Digong. Go to Qingli City to find your 27th granduncle and learn the way of sword cultivation from him. You can join Blood Shadow in the future. Granny 7 will take care of you there. As long as you can break through to the Golden Core realm, it won't be a problem for you to enter the upper echelons of Blood Shadow. Wang Digong was full of joy. He took the jade slip and thanked him repeatedly before leaving. Wang Daoxing also wanted to leave. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Second brother, we brothers haven't had a good chat in many years." He sighed. The path of cultivation is hopeless. The difference in cultivation is too big. I don't know what to talk about. Wang Daoyuan took out more than 10 jade bottles. Your talent is not bad. Even without the Purple Mansion anomaly, it doesn't affect your cultivation speed. You're only about 360 years old now. There's still hope for you to form your core. I've accumulated a lot of rank 4 demon cores over the years. I don't need your gold formation pill. Cultivate as soon as possible and form your core. I don't ask you to take charge of the family. I only ask that after a few hundred years, I can still have a brother to drink and chat with. Wang Daoxing smiled and nodded. Seventh brother, you forgot that I can't drink. Back when we were still Qi refinement cultivators, we went to Guiyan Valley to exterminate demon beasts. 12th uncle got us drunk in Golden Goose City. He used this to laugh at me for more than 300 years. Chapter 840. The two talked about many things when they were young. After a long time, Wang Daoxing left. He resigned from all his positions in the imperial court and went to the Green Willow secret territory to cultivate in seclusion. Wang Daoyuan still did not care about daily affairs and continued to cultivate in the underground cave. Half a year passed, and the spirit qi in the sky/mountain range became denser. Although the grade of the spirit vein did not increase by much, the amount of spirit qi produced increased explosively. The Jade Spring Peak was thousands of miles away from the sky/mountain range's main vein. They could feel a little bit of level 5 spirit qi in the outside world. This situation was just like the small island with a teleportation formation in the westernmost part of the Sea of Seven Stars. In this environment, they could already comprehend the power of laws. As long as they spent some time, a peak golden core cultivator would have the chance to break through to the Yuanying realm. When the Grey Rock patrolled the vicinity of the sky/mountain range, he also reported the changes in the spirit qi there. The spirit qi in the Green Willow Island had already reached the level of level 4 low grade. The level 5 spirit qi it contained was also much more than the Jade Spring Peak. The grade of the spirit vein in the Green Willow Island had also increased by quite a bit. It used to be level 3 low grade, but now it was level 3 high grade. The 4 top forces also sent news that their spirit veins had also increased to level 5 low grade. The demon-resisting mountain near the decimating heaven abyss had also become a level 5 spirit vein. Some of the larger spirit veins in the southern wasteland, such as the Blood Demon Ridge, also showed signs of upgrading. With such a huge commotion in Beiyuan Xiaofan, the demons in the decimating heaven abyss were naturally unwilling to be left out. More and more demons attacked the decimating heaven abyss's formation. As the grade of the spirit vein increased, the decimating heaven abyss's formation also became more and more sturdy. The decimating heaven abyss was not affected by Beiyuan spirit qi, so the strength of the demons would not change too much. Thus, the demons attacking the formation had no effect. It was the same on Zhouwan's side. The spirit vein in the Blood Shadow's underground headquarters was also peak level 6. Although it was not as good as the level 7 low grade of the 4 top forces, the difference was very small. The Blood Shadow's headquarters was south of the Jade Wave Sea, which was already close to the sky/mountain range. The various forces half-step Yuanying cultivators also broke through to the Yuanying realm. Each of the 4 top forces had 2 half-step Yuanying cultivators breaking through. Daoist swordless of the Tai sword sect was already at the pinnacle of the Gold Core realm. With a little more time, there was hope for him to reach the nascent Soul realm. On Blood Shadow's side, Zhang Dingming had also successfully broken through. For the sake of having one more Yuanying, Zhou Wan didn't stop him. After breaking through, Zhang Dingming also carried out some probing to seize power. Zhou Wan and Wang Daoyuan had been together for more than 100 years. Naturally, she wasn't weak in terms of mind games. He found an opportunity to have the blood-eyed golden-winged tiger and moonhowl wolf show their faces. He even delegated some authority to the first elder. After using both carrot and stick, Zhang Dingming also gave in. He also knew in his heart that if he really played hard with Zhou Wan, he would have to face more than just Zhou Wan and 2 mid-grade 5th-rank demonic beasts. Wang Daoyuan was the most powerful human cultivator in Beiyuan. He also had 2 puppets and 3 5th-grade demonic beasts. Blood Shadow's side was basically stable, and Wang Daoyuan didn't need to worry about it. The top forces of the human race already had 5th-grade spirit meridians and more than 10 Yuanying cultivators. On the other hand, there was no movement from the demon race. It was reasonable that there was no movement from the West Sea. The West Sea was the end of the world. Back then, when the human race had Mahayana cultivators, they also couldn't occupy the West Sea. In the current situation, the human race also didn't have the ability to occupy it. The same went for the Arctic ice plains in the north. North of the Arctic ice plains was the endless ice sea. Moreover, the further north one went, the colder the climate was. It was already difficult for the human race to establish a foothold at the edge of the Arctic ice plains, let alone in the depths of the Arctic ice plains. The southern wilderness had been wiped out countless times and couldn't create any big waves. What made Wang Daoyuan the most curious was that the East Sea demon race also didn't make any movements. According to his previous discoveries, there should still be 5th-grade demons hiding in the Mirage Fog Sea. There were at least 4 5th-grade demons in the sky/mountain range. If this continued, there would be more and more Yuanying cultivators in the human race. In the entire Beiyuan Shuxian, there were still some half-step Yuanying cultivators and at least 30 peak-stage golden core cultivators who had yet to break through. In another 10 or 20 years, the half-step Yuanying cultivators could try to form their nascent souls. Some of the peak-stage golden core cultivators could also form their nascent souls. If this dragged on for more than 100 years, the existing late-stage golden core cultivators could also break through to the Yuanying realm. The human race's advantage would be even greater. Wang Daoyuan didn't know what the demon race was thinking. The hiding places of the demon race were also very well hidden. They might even be hidden in a mystic realm. It would take too much effort to find them. If he had the time, he might as well cultivate honestly. If he was strong enough, he wouldn't have to care about the demon race. Wang Daoyuan took a nascent cultivating pill and was about to cultivate when news came from the Wanchuan market. A 4th-grade demon sent a message outside the market saying that a 5th-grade demon wanted to see Wang Daoyuan. The demon race didn't need an invitation to see him. As long as they brazenly appeared in the territory of the Yen Kingdom, Wang Daoyuan would immediately go over. Wang Daoyuan was really at a loss about taking the initiative to invite him for a meeting. His first reaction was that the demon race wanted to lure him to an ambush place and kill him together. He naturally wouldn't take this risk. He directly asked Jia Qi to talk to the demon race. He took a flying boat to the Wanchuan market. If the demon race wanted to play dirty, he would be able to react at any time. After he gave a reply, the demon race quickly took action. The white-feathered chicken appeared on the river outside the Wanchuan market. He shouted in a sharp voice, "Dao Yu of the Yen Kingdom, come out. The demon race has something to talk to you about." Wang Daoyuan controlled Jia Qi to walk out of the market array. "Dao Yu of the demon race, what do you want to talk to me about? The demon race and the human race have been fighting for the past few years. Both sides have suffered great losses. If this continues, it won't benefit anyone. There is enough fifth-grade spirit energy in the heaven/mountain range. There will be more fifth-grade demons and Yuanian cultivators. They won't lack spirit energy. Since there are enough resources, there is no need to fight to the death. Therefore, a few fifth-grade demon monarchs of the demon race have decided to negotiate with the human race. Both sides will guard their borders and will no longer be enemies. The demon monarchs and the Grand Emperor of the Yen Kingdom will decide how to divide the territories." The white-feathered chicken's words made sense. The heaven/mountain range produced a lot of spirit energy. It wouldn't be a problem to increase the number of Yuanian cultivators tenfold. The two sides fought so hard because they wanted to fight for the dominance of Beiyuan Shuxian. In the current situation, the spirit veins of the four top forces had recovered to fifth grade. Their mountain gates still had methods left behind from ancient times. When their spirit veins were only at the peak of fourth grade, they could withstand the attacks of fifth-grade demon beasts. Now, they couldn't be broken through by fifth-grade demon beasts. No matter what, the demon race couldn't completely destroy the human race. It was even more impossible to exhaust them. The human race's reproduction speed was much faster than that of most demon beasts. The demon race couldn't compare at all. The demon race couldn't compare at all. The peace talks were naturally beneficial to the Yen Kingdom. It was still under a lot of pressure to resist the invasion of the East Sea, the heaven/mountain range, and the Arctic ice plains. The Wang family's rise was still too short. They needed time to slowly improve their foundation. If this continued, they wouldn't be able to do business. He controlled Jia Qi to reply, "This is not a matter between the demon race and the Yen Kingdom. It is a matter between the demon race and the human race. Whether to negotiate or not, we still need the agreement of the four top forces. The Zhou and Qin kingdoms have contributed a lot to resist the demon race and have the right to express their opinions. If the demon race is sincere in negotiating, our Grand Emperor will inform these forces and wait for them to send people over to discuss this matter together." If the Yen Kingdom agreed to this matter, it was equivalent to betraying the human race. Seeing that the human race had the intention to negotiate, the white-feathered chicken also replied, "The demon race is sincere. Please tell your Grand Emperor of the human race. The location and specific time of the negotiation will be decided by the human race." Chapter 841. This was a good show of sincerity. The time and place were set by the human clan, which meant that they didn't intend to play dirty. Wang Daoyuan had some guesses about the attitude of the demon clan. There weren't many peak 5th rank beasts hidden on the demon clan side. If there were many greater demon monarchs, a dozen or so peak 5th stage greater demon monarchs could easily flatten the Yen Kingdom. He would have nowhere to run. Since they chose to negotiate, they must not be confident in taking him down. Of course, there wouldn't be too few great demon kings. At least, they had a big advantage over the human clan. Otherwise, they wouldn't dare to show their faces at all. From this point of view, there should be 3 or 4 great demon kings on the demon clan side. They were much stronger than the human clan, but they weren't confident in winning. Wang Daoyuan naturally hoped to maintain a short peace and buy himself a few more decades of cultivation time. He wasn't worried about 6th rank beasts coming out. Whether it was humans or beasts, the spiritual power in their bodies was constantly dissipating. And the older they were, the more serious the dissipation would be. This was also one of the important reasons why it was difficult for humans and beasts to break through in their later years. Some sleeping secret techniques could reduce the consumption of spiritual power, but they couldn't completely eliminate it. Even if there were 6th-rank beasts sleeping, they had been sleeping for more than 20,000 years. These beasts were not young, and the dissipation of spiritual power was very serious. Many beasts exhausted their spiritual power in their sleep and never woke up again. Even if there were 6th-rank beasts who could wake up, with the concentration of spiritual energy in Beiyuan, it would be good enough to maintain their spiritual power. It was basically impossible to recover to the peak without hundreds of years. If they dared to show up now, it wouldn't be enough for him to deal with. Thinking of this, he controlled Jia Qi and said, "Since the demon clan is so sincere, we naturally have no problem. I will report back to the Grand Emperor and ask him to contact the 4 top forces and the Zhou and Qin kingdoms. When the major forces come to a conclusion, we will give the demon clan an answer." After that, he threw a communication jade token over. The white feather chicken took the jade token. "In that case, I'll wait for the good news." After that, it left the vicinity of Wanchuan Market and headed east. Wang Daoyuan sighed. This white feather chicken was quite heartless. Its grandfather was killed by him, but it still didn't care. He didn't know if it really didn't care or if it had other motives. No matter what, since there was a chance for a temporary ceasefire, it was better to seize it. Wang Daoyuan also immediately sent a message to his master and the other powers through the Divine Weapon Pavilion. These forces reacted very quickly. Soon, news came that they would send people to the Yen Kingdom to negotiate with the Demon Clan. Half a month later, 6 Yuanian cultivators arrived at Qingli City. They were Reverend Imo Yang of the Divine Weapon Pavilion, Reverend Tian Diao of the Celestial Arcanum Sect, Reverend Lifeng of the Tai Sword Sect, and Reverend Xian Shuang of the Wind Snow Deity Palace. Wang Daoyuan knew all 4 of them. They had fought side by side in the past when they had suppressed the devil race in the southern wasteland. Among them, Daoist Imo Yang was an old enemy. When Daoist Lei Yen was trying to form his nascent soul, Daoist Imo Yang had intervened. Later on, during the chaos of the demons, he performed meritorious service and was pardoned of his sins. Now that the enemy was right in front of them, he had no choice but to break through to the Yuanian realm. These 4 people were the upper echelons of the 4 great sects, but none of them were the sect leaders. The 4 top forces also held back, afraid that the demon race would play dirty tricks. Even if these people died here, it wouldn't shake the foundation of the 4 great sects. The Zhou and Qin kingdoms had no choice. They only had 1 Yuanian cultivator now and couldn't send anyone else. They could only send the grand emperors of the 2 kingdoms. Wang Daoyuan received the 6 people in the Qingli City Imperial Palace. Daoist Master Feng Yi was still very enthusiastic. The moment he entered the Imperial Extreme Hall, he smiled and said, "Nephew's son-in-law is really capable. You actually killed a peak rank 5 great demon king. If it wasn't for your deterrence, the demon race probably wouldn't have compromised so easily." Daoist Master Feng Tian also said, "For the demon race to be able to compromise, Martial Nephew Daoyuan has indeed contributed greatly." Wang Daoyuan asked, "I wonder what everyone's opinion is on the demon race's request for peace." Daoist Master Imo Yang replied, "Sect leader and martial nephew Lei Yen both agreed to the peace talks. Before I came, the 2 of them instructed that everything will be decided by you." Daoist Master Feng Tian nodded. It's hard to say how much foundation the demon race in the West Sea has. If we can negotiate with the demon race in the sky/mountain range, it would naturally be excellent. My elder brother also said that the matter of the peace talks will be decided by you. We only came here to express the approval of the various major factions. The others expressed their approval and reached a consensus. Wang Daoyuan said, "Since everyone agrees, then I'll reply to the demon race. Seniors, what are your opinions on the location of the negotiation?" Daoist Master Feng Yi replied, "The location of the peace talks is not suitable to be in the human race's hinterland. If the demon race has any tricks up their sleeves, our human race may suffer disastrous losses. Of course, it's even more unreliable to place it east of the sky/mountain range. If the demon race changes their mind, we won't even have the chance to escape. In my opinion, it's better to place it in Shanbei. There are fewer humans there. Even if a fight breaks out, there won't be too great of a loss. We will also have a chance to escape. Everyone had no objections. There was indeed no problem with the peace talks in Shanbei. After discussing the time and location, Wang Daoyuan controlled Jia Qi to send a message to the White Feather Chicken. The location of the peace talks was set at the Golden Horn Peak of the Falling Star Plain, and the time was set to be 1 month later. This Golden Horn Peak was the place where Jia Qi and Zhou Wan underwent their tribulation. The Taurus clan that occupied this place was exterminated by Wang Daoyuan. The other demon races in the entire Falling Star Plain did not dare to stay in the Falling Star Plain any longer and fled to the extremely cold icy plain. After that, no demon beasts dared to occupy this place. There was no need to clear the place for the negotiations. The demon race also responded quickly, agreeing to Wang Daoyuan's proposed location and time for the peace talks. The 1-month deadline also came quickly. Wang Daoyuan used a 5th-rank upper-grade flying boat to take everyone to the Falling Star Plain. After arriving at the Falling Star Plain, not long after waiting, 7 demon beasts flew over. Among them, there were 2 demon kings. One was an ice jiao, and the other was a fire attribute phoenix blood half-divine beast. The rest were 5th-rank lower-grade demon beasts with quite extraordinary bloodlines. All the demon beasts turned into their human forms and landed on the Golden Horn Peak. The original buildings here had been completely razed by Wang Daoyuan. The human race and the demon race found a few large rocks to sit on. After the two sides introduced each other, the demon race's fire phoenix said, "We are here to represent the sky-beheading mountain range, the extremely cold icy plain, and the demon race of the East Sea. The demon race of the South Wasteland and the West Sea have no connection with us. If the demon race of these two places and the human race fight, it has nothing to do with us." This was also expected. Most of the demon race of the South Wasteland were ferocious beasts with extremely low intelligence. The masters of the West Sea were all primordial beasts. They really looked down on these half-divine beasts. Wang Daoyuan also replied, "The demon race of the West Sea and the South Wasteland has nothing to talk about. It's enough that you can represent the sky-beheading mountain range, the extremely cold icy plain, and the East Sea. You are the one who proposed the peace talks. The 4 top forces of the human race and the cultivators of the Zhou and Qin countries are already here. If the demon race has any requests, you can make them." The fire phoenix replied, "I represent the demon race of the sky-beheading mountain range. The sky-beheading mountain range is the territory of the demon race. As long as the human race retreats from the sky-beheading mountain range, the demon race will definitely not attack the human race." The Ice Flood Dragon added, "Huiyan Mountain is the boundary between the human race and the demon race's territory. The North Mountain is also the territory of the demon race. If the human race retreats from the North Mountain, the demon race will not attack the human race again." Now, not many demons dared to show their faces to the west of the sky-beheading mountain range. On the North Mountain range, the demon race did not dare to leave the extremely cold icy plain. These places were already considered the territory of the human race. The demon race's request was tantamount to asking the human race to admit defeat. As soon as this was said, the human cultivators were filled with righteous indignation. Wang Daoyuan sneered and said, "The human race originally thought that the demon race was very sincere, so we were willing to negotiate. From the looks of it, you don't take the human race seriously. If I can kill a greater demon king, I don't mind killing 2 more. If you want to continue fighting, I have no objections. I just want to see if I can completely eliminate the demon race from Beiyuan. Chapter 842. Both sides were very angry. If they continued to talk like this, they would definitely not compromise, and might even fight. A mid-rank 5th rank sea turtle hurriedly persuaded, both sides don't want to continue fighting. What our Grand Demon King proposed is only the conditions we want. If the human race was dissatisfied with something, they could always discuss it with each other. If the talks fail and the two races continue to fight, it won't be good for either side. Since the demon race had a peacemaker, the human race naturally needed someone to come forward and say a few beautiful words. Taoist Windwing said, "Niece-in-law, although the demon race's request is rude, we humans are reasonable. Let's talk slowly. If the demon race doesn't give in, it won't be too late for us to make a move. Although my cultivation is low, if I blow up my yuanying, it won't be a problem for me to seriously injure a few 5th rank demons." After these words were spoken, the demon race was somewhat afraid. They belonged to different races, and their cohesiveness couldn't be compared to the human race. If the yuanying cultivators of the human race died, other forces would take care of their descendants. If the demon race's Grand Demon King died, other groups would only fight for territory. The first thing these 5th rank demons had to consider was not the demon race's problem, but the problem of their own groups. After Taoist Windwing expressed his position, Wang Daoyuan stated his conditions: the Heaven/Mountain Range and the north of Mount Huiyan are not demon race's territory. The human race won't withdraw. Huofeng had an unhappy expression on her face. Since 10,000 years ago, the Heaven/Mountain Range has no human force. This Heaven/Mountain Range is naturally our demon race's territory. Daoyu is lying through your teeth. Before Wang Daoyuan could refute, Taoist Mo Yang angrily said, "How did our human race withdraw from the Heaven/Mountain Range? You should be very clear. 10,000 years ago, the demon race was in turmoil, and you demons were just onlookers. The yuanying cultivators of our human race were almost wiped out, and you took the opportunity to occupy the Heaven/Mountain Range. When we defended Beiyuan, you didn't contribute a bit, and there were even many demon race that wallowed in the mire. Most of you 5th rank demons cultivated to the 5th rank 10,000 years ago. When the demon race invaded, where were you? After repelling the devil clan, you still wantonly attacked our human clan's industries in the Heaven/Mountain Range. We humans have shed blood and sweat, yet we still have to give up our territory to you demons. How shameless." Wang Daoyuan continued, "There are already some human businesses in the Heavens Beheading Mountain Range. It's impossible to leave the Heavens Beheading Mountain Range. You can snatch it, but I'm afraid you don't have the strength to do so. You said that the Heaven/Mountain Range is the territory of the demon race, but when have we, the human race, ever admitted it? Over 10,000 years ago, the Heaven/Mountain Range was mostly human territory. You demons are borrowing the hands of the devil race to seize the territory of the human race. Are you planning to join hands with the devil race to divide Beiyuan? More than 70,000 years ago, when the demon race invaded, the human race and the demon race made a blood oath to fight against the demon race together. The ancient blood oath wasn't just an oath. It also had the blessing of many powerful figures of the two races. It could punish the descendants of the two races. Those with lower cultivation bases would be less affected by the blood oath. At most, the providence bestowed by their race would be reduced. If one's cultivation was too high, they might be killed right away. No one knew how much power the ancient blood oath had left. If the ancient blood oath punished them, they would have nowhere to cry. The fire phoenix also had a bad temper. Don't slander us. When did we collude with the devil race? You humans have a lot of demonic cultivators. It should be you who colluded with the devil race. Perfected Xian Shuang had been silent. Now she couldn't help but say, if we colluded with the devil race, why did we use human lives to make up for the chaos of the devil race more than 10,000 years ago? If we really colluded with the devil race, you cowards have been hiding in the cave for more than 10,000 years. I'm afraid the demon race would have gone extinct by now. The demon race was in the wrong. They couldn't take any advantage if they continued to argue. The sea turtle came out again to smooth things over. Everyone, calm down. Arguing won't solve the problem. The ice flood dragon also said, we can admit that the heavens beheading mountain range doesn't belong to the demon race. But what about Xiaofan? The ice flood dragon was the demon king of the extreme cold ice field. He didn't care about the ownership of the heavens beheading mountain range. His words seemed to betray the demon race in the heavens beheading mountain range in exchange for the human race's concession. There weren't many high-level spirit veins in Xiaofan, so their value was not as high as the heavens beheading mountain range. If they gave up some territory in Xiaofan and took advantage of the heavens beheading mountain range, they would make a lot of money. It was more cost-effective to make appropriate concessions in Xiaofan and divide the two major forces of the demon race in Xiaofan and the heavens beheading mountain range. Wang Daoyuan said, Xiaofan is not entirely a demon race. There used to be a large number of half-demons. The human race has never completely left Xiaofan. The gate of the Wind Snow Palace is near the Arctic ice field. There are always small forces of the human race near the east of Xiaofan. Now the half-demons have surrendered to the human race. Xiaofan can't be handed over to the demon race. On the surface, he sounded tough. In fact, the key point was that part of Xiaofan belonged to the demon race. The two sides each occupied a part. The specific boundary could be discussed slowly. Compared to not admitting that the heavens beheading mountain range belonged to the demon race, this attitude was very good. The ice flood dragon immediately understood what Wang Daoyuan meant. He also knew that the Yen kingdom had many arrangements in Xiaofan. The human race had the advantage in Xiaofan, so the demon race didn't dare to go far away from the Arctic ice field. As long as the human race could give up a part of their territory, the demon race wouldn't lose out. Seeing that the ice flood dragon's attitude had softened, the fire phoenix didn't dare to insist. The demon race can give up a part of the heavens beheading mountain range. I heard that when Dao Yu was in the Golden Core realm, he had reached an agreement with the rank 4 demon race. The human race can build industries in the heavens beheading mountain range, but they can't seize the territory of the rank 4 demon race. Now, we can continue to use this agreement, but those rank 4 demon race can return to their original territory. The territories of the rank 4 demon race were near the main vein of the heavens beheading mountain range. This meant that humans were allowed to enter the periphery, but the area near the main vein was still the territory of the demon race. Wang Daoyuan snorted. Dao Yu has a good plan. You didn't mention the territory occupied by the demon race. The human race has the absolute advantage west of the heavens beheading mountain range, but you want to take more than half of the benefits here. In my opinion, the west of the heavens beheading mountain range belongs to the human race. How about we discuss how to divide the territory east of the heavens beheading mountain range? The fire phoenix was furious. The human race's appetite is a little too big. Do you want to swallow the entire heavens beheading mountain range? Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, the human race doesn't have such big ambitions. The demon race of the South Wasteland is just sitting by and doing nothing. It's all up to the human race to resist the demon race. There are still ancient mutant beasts in the West Sea that need our protection. We really don't have the ability to swallow the entire heavens beheading mountain range. It's just that I don't want the demon race to fly to my door the moment I open my eyes. The west of the heavens beheading mountain range must belong to the human race. Otherwise, we'll see who's stronger. In any case, you don't have the confidence to destroy the human race. It's even more impossible to exhaust the human race. The fire phoenix didn't want to accept this condition, but the ice flood dragon looked like it didn't care. If they continued to fight, they would be isolated and helpless. The human race's main target was the heavens beheading mountain range. They couldn't win by themselves. The demon race north of the mountain had the extreme frost ice plains and the ice sea in the north as their backing. They didn't care, but the heavens beheading mountain range couldn't stop the human race's Yuanian cultivators. After holding it in for a long time, he said, "We can accept that the west of the heavens beheading mountain range is the human race's territory. However, Stage 5 demon race and human race Yuanian cultivators can't cross the boundary. They can't take the initiative to attack the other party's demon race and human race. If the low-level demon race and human race cultivators want to court death and take the initiative to attack, Stage 5 demon race and Yuanian cultivators can attack. Even if there's a conflict, it will be settled by Stage 5 demon race and human race and Yuanian cultivators. In addition, when members of both sides break through, the other side can't interfere. This is the demon race's bottom line. If the human race wants a yard after taking an inch, then we'll continue to fight." Chapter 843. Wang Daoyuan guessed that it was probably because he had snatched Yan Hui's gift of heaven and earth and killed a large number of Stage 4 demons that had frightened these greater demon kings. After all, ordinary humans and demon beasts could not snatch the gift of heaven and earth from those transcending the tribulation. If there were no restrictions, no demons would dare to transcend the tribulation in the future. Otherwise, the demons would not restrict themselves and restrict the Stage 5 demons and Yuanian cultivators from attacking. Wang Daoyuan replied, "I can accept this condition of your demon race, but there are some special things. Linhai Prefecture has always been the territory of the human race. Although it is east of the heavenly/mountain range, the human race will definitely not give it up. The Wan River connects to Linhai Prefecture. Our human cultivators can pass through the Wan River, and the demons cannot stop us. In addition, what should we do with the remaining demons west of the heavenly/mountain range?" The fire phoenix thought for a moment and replied, "It's fine to give Linhai Prefecture to the human race. As for the Wan River Valley, the demons are more undisciplined. We greater demon kings are not confident in controlling them all. I can only guarantee that the Stage 5 demons will not attack. We will take away all the demons west of the heavenly/mountain range that are willing to follow us. We will not care about those who are unwilling to follow us." This condition was not bad. They also needed to leave some demon beasts west of the heavenly/mountain range. If they were all killed, where would the human race hunt demon beasts in the future? The ice flood dragon asked, "The matter of the heavenly/mountain range has been settled. How should we distribute the territory in the northern mountains?" The demons of the heavenly/mountain range had already made a lot of concessions. They definitely held a grudge. If they suppressed the demons in the northern mountains too much now, it would be even more difficult for the human race if the two sides joined forces. It was better to give the demons in the northern mountains a little more concessions and let the demons in the heavenly/mountain range be the only unlucky ones. In a situation where their hearts were unbalanced, the demons on both sides would have conflicts. The northern mountains were really not much. It was a bitter cold land, and it was difficult for mortals to survive. From Mount Huiyan to the southernmost point of the extreme frost icy plains was hundreds of thousands of kilometers, close to 200,000 kilometers. There were not many places that were truly suitable for humans to reproduce. Only within 5,000 kilometers north of Mount Huiyan, they could establish families like in the southern mountains. Mortals could not survive in the Hades River where Zhongzhenyang and the other families were. They had to be protected by array formations, and the space. Mortals didn't have enough space to move around, so they couldn't get enough food. Their population would also be greatly affected. 10,000 miles north of Mount Huiyan, it was mostly a desert. It wasn't a big deal to give up some of this place. Logically speaking, Shanbei is the territory of humans, demons, and half-demons. It should be divided into 3 parts, with the demons taking 1/3. But since the half-fiends have submitted to us humans, we don't want to be too overbearing. In the territory of Shanbei, the original territory of the Wind-Snow Deity Palace remained unchanged. The other areas were divided equally between the 2 races, with the middle line between the Heavenly/Mountain Range and the extreme frozen ice plains as the boundary. The northern part of the mountain also overlaps with the Heaven/Mountain Range. The territory south of the dividing line and west of the Heaven/Mountain Range belongs to the human race. The territories north of the demarcation line have nothing to do with the human race. Let's follow fellow Taoist Fire Phoenix's explanation about the restrictions of nascent soul cultivators and fifth-order demons. This is the final concession that our human race will make. If you're not satisfied, then we'll have to attack. The Sky/Mountain Range extended all the way to the depths of the Arctic ice plains. There was a large overlap between the northern part of the mountain and the Sky/Mountain Range. The demons on both sides had been fighting for the overlapped areas. Wang Daoyuan's words were to plant nails in the demons on both sides and let them slowly fight among themselves. The ice flood dragon didn't dare to think too much. It was already good enough to have a little. He didn't expect Wang Daoyuan to give him nearly half of Shanbei's territory. Daoyu is really straightforward. We'll divide it according to this boundary. We have no objections. Fire Phoenix looked at the ice flood dragon's smug face and was very unhappy, but she couldn't say anything. The mid-grade rank 5 sea turtle said, "May I ask how the territory of the human race and the East Sea monster race will be divided?" Wang Daoyuan replied, "With the edge of Linhai Prefecture as the boundary, it will extend 5,000 miles into the sea. It will be the territory of the human race." There was a little more to it. Linhai Prefecture was the Wanchuan River Delta. It would continue to extend into the sea, and the territory would continue to expand. The Heaven/Mountain Range and the Shanbei demon race had both sent great demon kings. Only the East Sea monster race only sent a mid-grade rank 5 sea turtle. It seemed that the rank 5 demons in the East Sea didn't care much about the human race. After all, the East Sea was vast, and the human race only had Linhai Prefecture that bordered the East Sea. Their influence was still too small. No matter how strong the human race was, it was impossible for them to move everyone to the sea. The sea turtle didn't care about this matter. Let's do as Daoyu says. In the future, we will also abide by the agreement between the 2 races. Now that they had reached a consensus on the major issue, they discussed a few more details before both sides went their separate ways. Wang Daoyuan steered the flying boat and brought everyone back to Qingli City. After entering the palace and activating the soundproof array, everyone dared to laugh. Perfected Imo Lin smiled and said, "I didn't expect the demons to be so easy to fool." Daoyuan even planted nails in the demons and made them fight among themselves. As long as we can buy a few hundred years, our human race will have an absolute advantage. At that time, it won't be a problem to take down the entire Heaven/Mountain Range. We can also focus all our energy on the West Sea and prevent those primordial beasts from coming ashore again. Perfected Lifeng, who had been expressionless, also had an unconcealable smile on his face. This time, we have temporarily settled the demons in the east and north. We can also take a breather. Perfected Xian Shuang asked, "Martial nephew Daoyuan, half of the territory in the north of the mountain is in our hands. How do you plan to deal with it?" The Heaven/Mountain Range and the north of the mountain had taken down a lot of territory. The other 3 top forces couldn't control the north of the mountain. Only the Yen Kingdom and the Wind-Snow God Palace had a lot of territory in the north of the mountain. As for how to divide the territory, it was better to talk about it in advance. Wang Daoyuan answered, let's make it simple and divide it in the middle. The small Qing kingdom to the north of the Zhou kingdom is located between the west coast and the heaven/mountain range. The east of the Qing kingdom is guarded by the Yan kingdom. The west of the Qing kingdom is guarded by the Wind Snow God Palace. Martial Uncle Xian Shuang, what do you think? Perfected Xian Shuang nodded. In your opinion, it doesn't matter if it's more or less. In case the demons invade in the future, we don't know who to take care of them. I won't be staying any longer. The details of this negotiation can't be clearly explained in the letter. I should return to the Wind Snow Deity Palace as soon as possible and report this matter to the palace master. Finished speaking, he bid farewell and left Clear Glass City. The others also took their leave. After all, this was a major matter that concerned the two races. After such a big change, they had to go back and change the deployment of their own forces as soon as possible. Spiritual Master Mo Lin was the happiest. Although the northern mountain region near the state of Qin was under the jurisdiction of the Wind Snow Deity Palace, it was still under the jurisdiction of the Wind Snow Deity Palace. However, the Wind Snow Deity Palace had never been in charge of worldly affairs. The state of Qin itself had occupied a lot of territory in the northern part of the mountain. Now that the demon clan had retreated nearly 100,000 miles, the Qin state's room for expansion immediately increased. After the crowd dispersed, Wang Daoyuan was also thinking about how to manage the affairs of Shanbei and the Tianzhan mountain range. Shanbei was easier to manage. Places closer to Mount Huiyan were set up in 1 or 2 counties. The barren land in the desert should be left to the half-fiends to manage. All half-demons could cultivate, and as long as they had spirit veins, they could survive. They weren't afraid of the harsh environment. Let them act as a buffer zone between the human race and the demon race. If the demon clans were to cause trouble, they would be able to fend them off. These half-demons had already submitted to the Yan kingdom. Letting them develop those bitter cold lands would also bring a lot of benefits to the Yan kingdom. As for the territory west of the Tianzhan mountain range, it wasn't easy to deal with. The north of the Wanchuan River was naturally simple. They could just merge into Clear Glass County. The north of Mount Huiyan could also be set up as a county to manage. However, the Tianzhan mountain range stretched all the way to the heaven-destroying abyss. In name, these territories were under the jurisdiction of the Yan kingdom. The Wang family's little bit of wealth couldn't manage it at all. It was too much of a loss to give it to the neighboring countries. Chapter 844. After thinking for a long time, he came up with a strategy. Since they couldn't develop it and didn't want to give it to other countries for free, they wouldn't say anything for the time being. The territory near Tianzhan mountain range was rich in spirit energy. It was a piece of juicy meat for any power. In the future, Beiyuan Xiaoxian would know that the territory of Tianzhan mountain range belonged to the Yan kingdom in name. The Yan kingdom didn't have to touch these places, but would other countries dare to snatch things from Wang Daoyuan? If they wanted to develop the land around Tianzhan mountain range, they had to give the Yan kingdom benefits. These territories could be rented, sold, and exchanged. They couldn't just give it away for free. It wasn't a bad idea to use things that couldn't be used to exchange for good things that could increase the strength of the family. Of course, it was best to rent it to other countries. They could still get some benefits by keeping the ownership of the territory. No one deliberately concealed the fact that the human race and the demon race had reached an agreement. After all, the humans had benefited greatly, so there was no need to hide it. Soon, the news spread. Wang Mingchen and Wang Shui heard the news and came. Once they entered the hall, Wang Mingchen cupped his hands and asked, "Father, I've heard about the agreement between the humans and demons. Our Wang family doesn't have so many people to look after so many spirit veins. How should we deal with the territories that we got?" Father, please tell me. Wang Daoyuan didn't answer directly. Instead, he had the intention to test Wang Mingchen. The territories west of Tianzhan mountain range are all under the jurisdiction of the Yan Kingdom. 100,000 miles north of Huiyan Mountain and east of Xing country are also our Yan Kingdom's territories. With such a large territory, it's impossible for our Wang clan to manage it all. In your opinion, how should we deal with it? Wang Mingchen thought for a moment and answered, Tianzhan mountain range is a piece of juicy meat. Our Yan Kingdom's foundation is still shallow, so it's impossible to swallow this piece of juicy meat. If we don't eat this piece of juicy meat, it's inevitable that people will think about it. Rather than that, why don't we use these territories to exchange for benefits with other countries? Our Wang family is the foundation of the Yan Kingdom. Our family's businesses are all concentrated in Qingli River. Therefore, we have to expand the territory of Qingli County. The territories to the east of Qingli Prefecture were also within the Qingli Prefecture. They should all be merged into Qingli County and be under the jurisdiction of the imperial court. Shanbei should be under the jurisdiction of several counties. The place far away from Mount Huiyan was not suitable for humans to live in, but it could be given to the half-beasts who had surrendered. As for how these prefectures should be set up, I haven't thought about it yet. Wang Daoyuan nodded. It's not bad that you can think of this in such a short time. 12th uncle, what are you going to do with these territories? Wang Shui smiled and said, I think that Mingchen is right. We can only swallow the territory to the north of the Wanchuan River from the west side of the sky/mountain range. In the south, it was better to exchange benefits with other countries to avoid being hated by others. The eastern part of Qingli Prefecture should indeed be incorporated into Qingli Prefecture. The territories north of Huiyan Mountain and within the Sky-Beheading Mountain range were also very valuable. In my opinion, we should just set up a prefecture and let our Wang clan's disciples be the prefectural governors. Let's lay a foundation there first. In the future, it will be more convenient for us to make a move on Zijinchuan. 2 or 3 counties could be set up within 10,000 miles north of Mount Huiyan, which would be used to settle down the rogue cultivators who sought refuge with the imperial court. This place was 10,000 miles wide from north to south and 400,000 miles from east to west. There were thousands of level 2 spirit veins. Apart from some important spirit veins and industries, the rest could be used to buy people's hearts. Tens of thousands of miles north of Mount Huiyan, apart from a few large oases such as the Starfall Plain, the rest of the oases were of little value. We could split it into many prefectures to settle down the half-demons. If the leaders of the half-demon tribes could break through to Yuanying, they could be appointed as prefectural governors. Also, Zhongzhenyang and the rest could set up a prefecture in the Nether King River Basin and let them do whatever they wanted. They could also restrain the half-demons and prevent them from having any other thoughts. In this way, the ones facing the extreme Frost Plains demons would be the half-demons and Zhongzhenyang and the rest. Even if the demons attacked, our Yan country's direct descendants would not be easily harmed. Of course, we have to prevent the half-demons and Zhongzhenyang from colluding with each other and not listening to the imperial court's orders. As for how to divide the territories, we need to study it carefully. Wang Daoyuan smiled. Mingchen, did you see that? The older, the wiser. Learn more from your 12th uncle. By the way, what is third brother doing? He doesn't hold a position in the imperial court or manage the family's affairs. I haven't seen him show up in the years I've been back. He has been managing the family for hundreds of years and is very experienced. Now that the Yan country's territory has expanded, there are too many things to manage. It would be a waste if we don't bring him out. Wang Shui shook his head. What else can he do? According to the records in the essence of God art, he wants to comprehend a God art. He has been in seclusion in the Green Willow secret realm. Mingchen and I have asked him to come out many times but he refused. It seems that third brother really wants to be one of the pillars of the family. Unfortunately, his efforts were used in the wrong place. Comprehending a minor divine ability isn't something that can be cultivated in seclusion. Back then, I also paid a huge price. In the end, I was lucky enough to have some enlightenment when I fought Gu Chengfeng. It's not wise for me to ask him to come out and waste time on minor god arts. As soon as he finished speaking, a jade talisman that Wang Mingchen carried with him emitted spiritual power fluctuations. He checked it and said, "Father, 12th uncle, 3rd uncle has heard about the peace talks between the human race and the demon race. He has already left the Green Willow secret realm and is coming here." Hearing this, Wang Shui smiled and said, "With Daochang's help, I can also relax and strive to cultivate to the peak of the Golden Core realm as soon as possible and break through the Yuanying realm." Not long after, Wang Daochang came to the main hall where the three of them were. As soon as he came in, he said excitedly, "Seventh brother, you are really amazing this time." When fifth uncle was still the patriarch, he set the strategy of a cunning rabbit having 3 burrows. For more than 300 years, we have been working hard to develop the Heaven/Mountain range. Now, the entire Heaven/Mountain range has become our family's private property. I didn't want to take care of things, but now that the Yen country has such a large territory, the current manpower shouldn't be enough. Mingchen, third uncle wants to beg for a living under you. Give him an official position. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Third brother, it's good that you are willing to come out. With you and the 12th uncle assisting Mingchen, I don't need to take care of these government affairs. It's better to improve my cultivation as soon as possible. With my current strength, it's difficult to deal with several demon kings at the same time. Now that the Yen country has such a big piece of meat, many people are thinking about it. My cultivation is higher, so I can deter them." Wang Shui smiled and said, "Don't worry. With Dao Chang and me assisting, it's more than enough to govern the Yen country." Wang Daoyuan returned to the underground cave abode under the Jade Spring and continued to cultivate. He wanted to improve his cultivation to the late stage of the Yuanying realm as soon as possible. However, before he could cultivate for a month, someone came to visit him. This person was an old acquaintance. It was the minister of the Zhao state, Zhao Jinghua. He came with a big scheme. Wang Mingchen, the 12th uncle, and the third brother didn't dare to make the decision. Wang Daoyuan had to come out personally. Zhao Jinghua came on behalf of the Zhao Emperor. The Zhao Emperor wanted to exchange or buy the territory south of the Wanchuan River and the Sky Beheading Mountain Range. This territory wasn't small. In addition to the eastern part of Linchuan County, there was also the Wanlong Mountain that spanned 4 counties south of the Zhao state. The Wanlong Mountain Range was a remnant of the Sky Beheading Mountain Range. It was more than 100,000 miles long from east to west and nearly 50,000 miles wide from north to south. South of the Wanlong Mountain Range was the territory of the Song and Qi states. The Zhao Emperor had a big appetite, but the Zhao family's teeth weren't very good. The Qi and Song states in the south were old aristocrats of the Zhou state. Their ancestors were Yuanying cultivators. Now that they had a level 5 spirit vein, Yuanying cultivators would soon appear again. If the Zhao state didn't have Yuanying cultivators, it would be difficult for them to make a name for themselves even if they obtained the Wanlong Mountain Range. However, he didn't need to worry about the Zhao family. This was the first business deal. Let's do it first. Chapter 845. Wang Daoyuan came to the imperial hall of Qingli City. Wang Mingchen, 12th uncle, and third brother were already there to receive Zhao Jinghua. Seeing him arrive, Zhao Jinghua bowed and said, "Greetings, Yen country's retired emperor." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No need to be so polite. I heard that Emperor Zhao wants the territory in the Sky Beheading Mountain Range. What are your plans?" Zhao Jinghua replied, under Emperor Zhao's orders, I want to buy the territory east of Linchuan County and part of Wanlong Mountain from Yan country. I hope that retired emperor and His Majesty will allow it. Zhao country was a bit interesting. They only wanted part of Wanlong Mountain to avoid the border with Song and Qi. Currently, Zhao country and Song country only had the border of Wucheng Pass in name. There was also the sixth prince's small imperial court between them. The sixth prince was already over 900 years old, and there weren't any outstanding figures among his descendants. When he died, Zhenan Kingdom would fall into the hands of Thousand Spirit sect. At that time, there would be an unavoidable war. Wang Daoyuan originally wanted to sell these places. If Zhao country wanted to buy it, there would be no problem. With Yan country's current strength, there was no need to care about Zhao country and Song country. No matter who won or lost, they would not dare to have any ideas about Yan country. Selling these places is not a problem. How much of Wanlong Mountain does Emperor Zhao want, and how much? Hearing this, Zhao Jinghua's face revealed joy. Wang Daoyuan asked this, which meant that he agreed. As long as Zhao country gave a suitable price, this business was done. Emperor Zhao wants the 10,000-mile-wide area east of Linchuan County and the northernmost part of Wanlong Mountain. As for the price, Zhao country is willing to exchange Linhai County. Although there are fewer spirit veins and minerals in Linhai County, the territory is much bigger. Moreover, Linhai County is located at the mouth of the Wanchuan River. The territory will continue to expand. Hunting demonic beasts is also very convenient. The value of demonic beast materials is not lower than minerals. Zhao country's talents have withered. All kinds of minerals have been destroyed by the Three Sects rebellion. They can't take out anything good. If retired emperor and His Majesty are not satisfied with this price, we can only buy less land. This price was indeed not bad. Linhai Prefecture was formed by the Wanchuan River and was mainly composed of plains. The entire Linhai Prefecture was in the shape of an irregular triangle. It was over 50,000 li from east to west, and had an average width of 30,000 li from north to south. Its area was equivalent to 3 to 4 times that of the original Qingli Prefecture. In addition, after the Wanchuan River reached the lower reaches, it divided into many smaller channels. The spiritual energy in the river was comparable to that of a third-grade spiritual vein or a fourth-grade spiritual vein. Although the river delta was extremely lacking in minerals, with the nourishment of the river, more than half of the land in Linhai Prefecture could be developed into spiritual fields. With so many spiritual fields developed, the number of cultivators that could be fed would be at least a few million. As Linhai State continued to expand, there would be more and more places that could be developed into spirit fields. Of course, in order to develop these spiritual fields, they would need a huge amount of manpower. The 13 families of Linhai had occupied Linhai Prefecture for tens of thousands of years, but the amount of spiritual land they had developed was far less than that of Guangyuan Prefecture in the Zhao country. With the growth rate of the Wang clan's cultivators, it would take at least 10,000 years for them to develop the entire Linhai state. Of course, this was just an ordinary method. Wang Daoyuan could make puppets, and had enough materials. He could have his doppelganger make large amounts of puppets in the space of the Ling bead. Puppets had many functions. In theory, they could do all the work that humans could do. But forging, making seals and the like used up too much spiritual energy. Puppet's spiritual energy was very weak and could not last long. The work of a Ling plant farmer did not use up much spiritual energy and could be done continuously. Puppets did not need to cultivate. With the supply of energy from the Ling gathering bead, they did not need to recover spiritual energy. One Ling plant farmer puppet could take the place of 3 or 4 Ling plant farmers. The method of making low-level puppets could also be taught to the forgers of the clan. It would take 30 to 40 years to develop an excellent Ling plant farmer. Low-level forgers would only need a few months to make a Ling plant farmer puppet. It would not take long to train him to do simple work. Wang Daoyuan thought for a moment and said, I am very satisfied with the Zhao Emperor's price. Let's follow this price. But there are 13 Linhai families in Linhai state that have all been conferred nobility by the state of Zhao. There is also the Linhai Duke. How should we deal with these large families? Zhao Jinghua cupped his hands and said, the Zhao Emperor has also considered this matter. Those families all have fiefs in Linchuan County. If they are willing to abandon Linhai state, they will all move to Linchuan County. If they abandon Linhai state, they will split their families into two. The portion with nobility will move to Zhao. The portion that stays in Linhai state will be a normal family and will be managed by the state of Yan. In addition, the Linhai Duke's fief will also be moved to the west of Sky Beheading Mountain Range. We still want to leave a portion of our people in Linhai state. Now that Zhao is in decline, if Yuanying cultivators appear in Song, they could attack at any time. The Zhao Emperor wants to leave a way out for his family in Linhai Prefecture. I ask the retired Emperor and Your Majesty to approve. This was human nature. Song was an old noble family. Although their inheritance was not very good, they had produced Yuanying cultivators and had a level 5 legacy magic artifact. Although Song Yan's cultivation talent was not as good as the Zhao Emperor's and Zhao Jinghua's, his chances of breaking through were very high. With Song Yan's character, once he broke through to the Yuanying realm, he would definitely attack Zhao again. That is not a problem. It is also good to leave more people in Linhai state. If everyone leaves, it will take a lot of effort for the state of Yan to develop Linhai state. I agree with the Zhao Emperor's proposal. You can just send someone to Mingchen. Zhao Jinghua bowed and said, Many thanks for your permission, Your Majesty. I have another matter to discuss with Your Majesty. I heard Your Majesty went out to sea for several decades and found ruins left behind by ancient cultivators. Not only did you cultivate to the Yuanying realm, but you also obtained many Yuanying inheritances and level 5 treasures. The ancestors of Zhao were rogue cultivators. Although they obtained the inheritances of ancient cultivators, those ancient cultivators were only at the peak of Golden Core. Although they had part of the Yuanying inheritances, they did not have a level 5 magic tool to resist the Yuanying tribulation. The Zhao Emperor wants to use the Blooming Water Divine Lightning to ask Your Majesty to upgrade the ancestral seal of mountains and rivers to a level 5 magic tool. Wang Daoyuan had seen the seal of mountains and rivers before. Although it was a peak level 4 magic tool, it was not an ordinary item. This item was refined by Emperor Wu of Zhao in the past and was fused with the essence of spirit veins in Zhao state. In Emperor Wu's era, there were level 5 magic tool refining materials. The materials used to refine the seal of mountains and rivers were low-grade level 5 magic tools. However, Emperor Wu of Zhao's refining skills were not good enough and could only refine it into a level 4 magic tool. After more than 10,000 years of nurturing by the successive Zhao emperors, the magic tool's power was not much worse than a low-grade level 5 magic tool. If it could be refined into a level 5 magic tool, it would not be difficult to resist 5 Yuanying tribulations. As for the Blooming Water Divine Lightning, its value was very high. Although he had broken through to the Yuanying state, the power of a casual attack was far superior to the Blooming Water Divine Lightning. However, for cultivators below the Yuanying state, the power of the Blooming Water Divine Lightning was still very terrifying. He still had the incomplete Earth Divine Lightning and Fire Divine Lightning in his hands. With the Yuanying cultivators' control of the laws, it was not difficult to deduce level 4 magic tools. Although it might not be the same as the original version, the power would not be too different. The Zhao clan could deduce the Blooming Water Lightning Sword based on the Blooming Water Divine Lightning. The Wang clan could also deduce more cultivation methods and magic tools in the future. Wang Daoyuan nodded. I have seen the seal of mountains and rivers. The material is indeed good. It will not be a problem to refine it into a level 5 magic tool. However, I have a condition. The seal of mountains and rivers has been fused with various level 4 spirit veins in Zhao state, including many spirit veins in Yen state. I do not want my own spirit veins to be affected by others. Zhao Jinghua hurriedly cupped his hands and said, "Don't worry, retired emperor." After Yen state was established, His Majesty removed the spirit veins in Yen state from the seal of mountains and rivers. Now, only the spirit veins in Linhai state are left in the seal of mountains and rivers. Chapter 846. After the fall of Zhao country, the people in power were very good at handling matters. Zhao country's strength was no longer enough to threaten Yen country, and there were no conflicts between the two countries. If he continued to leave the spirit veins in Yen country's territory in the seal of mountains and rivers, it would only make Yen country's emperor and officials feel uncomfortable. If he removed these spirit veins in time, the seal of mountains and rivers would not have much power. Wang Daoyuan nodded and said, "I don't have any urgent matters now, and I can start refining at any time. But let me tell you in advance, a level 5 magic tool needs to be forged with the inner pattern. Therefore, this seal of mountains and rivers needs to be forged again, and the results of the previous nurturing may be damaged. It's better to restore the materials of the seal of mountains and rivers to level 5 first. When it's forged again, the spirit veins inside and the spiritual power of the materials will not be affected too much." Zhao Jinghua cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, retired emperor. Yen country can send people to hand over the land of Linhai state at any time. I'll go back and report to Emperor Zhao. Goodbye." After that, he left the hall. Wang Shui and Wang Daochang sent him out of the palace gate. After the two came back, Wang Daochang couldn't hide the excitement on his face. "Seventh brother, you really have great foresight. The strategy of a crafty rabbit having 3 burrows has really come true now." Wang Daoyuan shook his head. "Now there's no difference between 3 burrows and 30 burrows. Everyone knows where our property is, and there's no place to hide. If we want to leave a backup plan, it's still Zi Jinchuan. We just reached an agreement with the demon race, and it's not suitable to touch Zi Jinchuan now. Let's wait. As long as I'm still in Beiyuan Xiuxian, no one will dare to have any ideas about our Wang family. However, with Linhai state, our Wang family will have unlimited space to expand in the future. Although there are few islands in the depths of the East Sea, we can always find some places to stay." Wang Shui was also happy. Zhao country's Gue water divine thunder is also good. If we can learn it, our family's Fu Hai art will have one more way to fight the enemy. Wang Mingchen thought for a while and asked, "Father, who will guard Linhai state?" Such a large piece of land with extremely high value required a person of virtue and prestige to manage. Furthermore, Linhai state was east of the heavenly/mountain range and close to the sea. There were many kinds of demonic beasts. If not for the Yuanying battle force holding the fort, I'm afraid there would be a lot of demonic beasts harassing us. This was indeed a problem. Yuanying did not lack battle prowess. Puppets and doppelgangers were all fine. However, there had to be someone to manage the affairs of Linhai Prefecture. Otherwise, how could there be any talk of ruling? In this aspect, clones and puppets were not very suitable. I'll summon the Black Ice Tortoise back to guard Linhai Prefecture. After the handover, he would think about who would be in charge of Linhai Prefecture. Take care of the handover of Linhai Province. At this moment, Wang Jian walked in from the outside. He was already at the middle stage of the Gold Core realm. Moreover, his spiritual energy fluctuations were not very stable. He should have just broken through not long ago. As soon as I came out of seclusion, I heard that the clan has expanded its territory by quite a bit. It should be lacking manpower. In any case, I've been the patriarch for over 100 years. Managing affairs isn't a problem for me. There are many clansmen cultivating in the Green Willow region. I don't need to manage them. If there's anything else you need, feel free to arrange it for me. Wang Shui said, since you need someone to manage the daily affairs of Linhai Prefecture, why don't you let fifth uncle go? With the black ice tortoise guarding, there's no need to worry about anyone causing trouble. Hearing this, he was a little confused. Aren't only the Sky Beheading Mountain Range and the North Mountain Range our Wang clan's territory? How come Linhai Prefecture is also ours? Wang Mingchen explained this matter, and Wang Xian immediately became interested. That's not bad. Leave Linhai Prefecture to me. We've just negotiated peace with the demon race. The 5th rank demon beasts won't come looking for trouble now. With the 5th rank mid-grade black ice tortoise guarding, there's no need to be afraid of the 4th rank demon beasts courting death. There's nothing to be afraid of in Linhai Prefecture. Wang Daoyuan also took out a 5th rank low-grade close combat puppet. Fifth uncle, with this puppet, even if there's a 4th rank demon who doesn't know what's good for him, he can easily deal with it. After discussing these matters, Wang Daoyuan returned to Jade Spring Peak. There was no need for him to manage the handover. After only a month, the handover over in Linhai Prefecture was completed. Of the 13 families in Linhai, only the Gu clan's Gu Qingfeng and Lord Linhai's second son, 2 golden core cultivators remained. The other 11 families were weak to begin with, and only had 1 golden core cultivator. There were also 2 families whose only golden core cultivators had died when the Zhao clan revived the country. Now, there were no golden core cultivators. The risk in Linhai Prefecture was too great. For the powerful families, it was a good place to establish their foundation. But for the weak clans, it was a place of death. They only left behind a small number of clansmen. Most of them migrated to the fief west of the Sky Beheading Mountain Range. Now that there were only 3 golden core factions in Linhai Prefecture, there was no need to divide it into 13 counties. Instead, it was divided into 3 counties. The area close to the sea, including the mouth of the river, was called Linhai County. East of Linhai County, with the Wanchuan River as the boundary, was divided into 2 counties, the South County and the North County. The 3 counties were about the same size, but the mouth of the Wanchuan River was in Linhai County. In the future, Linhai County would continue to expand. As the Linhai Prefecture overseer, Wang Xian was in charge of the 3 counties. The governor of the South County was Zhao Qinglang, the second son of the Lord of Linhai, and the governor of the North County was Gu Qingfeng. After the land was designated, the Wang clan began to migrate 100 cultivators and 50,000 mortals to Linhai Prefecture to spread their influence. Now that the Wang clan had more than 1 million mortals, 50,000 mortals were nothing. The demons of the West Sea didn't make any moves. Before Wang Daoyuan could recall the black ice tortoise, Daoist Xiantian sent it over. With it overseeing Linhai Prefecture, there was nothing to be afraid of. The Zhao clan also reacted quickly. Zhao Jinghua sent the Seal of Mountains and Rivers to the Jade Spring Peak. When he saw Wang Daoyuan, Zhao Jinghua cupped his hands and said, "The spirit vein origin of Linhai Prefecture in the Seal of Mountains and Rivers has been removed. However, the materials used to refine the Seal of Mountains and Rivers haven't been nourished by level 5 spirit chi for tens of thousands of years. They won't be able to reach level 5 in a short time." It seemed that the Zhao clan was really anxious. Zhou Wan also sent news that there were movements in Song. It was most likely that Song Yen was preparing to break through to the Yuanying realm. Once that madman succeeded, and Zhao didn't have any Yuanying cultivators who could match him, Song would definitely attack Zhao again. It's fine. The Seal of Mountains and Rivers materials used to be level 5. It won't be a problem to refine level 5 low-grade magic artifacts now. It's just that the spirit vein origin in the seal of mountains and rivers and the results of 10,000 years of refinement will be affected. Zhao Jinghua hurriedly said, "It's fine to lose some spirit vein origin. I wonder how long the retired emperor will take to refine it. I'm sure you know that Song Yan is restless. I'm worried that he'll come looking for trouble again if it's too late." The seal of mountains and rivers wasn't a complicated magic artifact. It wouldn't take much effort to reforge it. The main thing was that it needed to be nurtured in the crafting cauldron for a long time after it was completed. However, with the spirit pearl space, this amount of time didn't matter. 10 days at least, a month at most. Zhao Jinghua was overjoyed and took out a storage bag. The seal of mountains and rivers and the refining method are all in here, as well as the Gui water divine thunder. There are also some leftover scraps from refining the seal of mountains and rivers. I don't know if they'll be useful, so I put them all here. Wang Daoyuan took the storage bag. Minister Zhong Zhengqing, please go to Qingli City to rest first. I'll send you a message when the refining is done. Zhao Jinghua took his leave. Wang Daoyuan returned to his underground cave residence and took out 2 thin animal skin books from the storage bag. They were respectively the refining method for the Gui water divine thunder and the refining method for the seal of mountains and rivers. Wang Daoyuan looked at the contents of the Gui water divine thunder. Sure enough, the 4th level of the Gui water divine thunder involved the true meaning of thunder. When using the Gui water divine thunder, one needed to take into account both thunder and water attributes. Thunder was the most masculine and yang, while water was the most feminine and yin. Wang Daoyuan deeply admired 5 Thunder True Lords' methods for combining the two together without any conflict. Chapter 847. As a Yuanying cultivator, Wang Daoyuan had a deeper understanding of the laws. After deducing the entire spell, he felt that the 10th water divine thunder should be based on the water attribute laws, with the lightning attribute laws as a supplement. What the 10th water divine thunder was good at was not explosive damage, but quietly infiltrating the enemy's weak points, and then releasing its power. It was a sneaky method. He had fought side by side with the Zhao family, and had also fought with the Zhao family who used the 10th water divine thunder. The group of hotheads who used the 10th water divine thunder mainly used the lightning attribute laws, and walked the hard and fierce path. It was obvious that Emperor Wu Zhao had gone astray when he cultivated the Gui water divine thunder. He was also a rogue cultivator, and accidentally received the inheritance of an ancient cultivator, and no one to guide him, so it was not strange that he went astray. However, the Zhao Wu Di brothers' talent was not bad, and they used this astray 10th water divine thunder to make a name for themselves. Using this as a foundation, they created the 10th water thunder sword, a move with stronger lethality. Going astray did not mean going astray. There were many ways to cultivate, and there was no absolute right or wrong. Water was also divided into yin and yang. Yin was silently moisturizing, water droplets penetrating stone. For example, Yulu and the water of the well were 10th water. Yang was stormy waves, splitting mountains and stones, majestic momentum, like the water of rivers, lakes and seas, was 9th water. The people of the Zhao family had cultivated the blooming water divine lightning to the point that it had the aura of raging waves. This should be called 9th water divine thunder. Although it deviated from the original meaning of the 10th water divine thunder, it was a lucky hit, and had another mystery. 9th water divine thunder's power was very strong, but it also had its flaws. This point was the same as other water attribute spells, it needed the support of extremely strong spiritual power. Cultivators with poor talent, using the 9th water divine thunder, would not be able to produce much power. Zhao family's 10th water thunder sword, in a generation, only a few people could cultivate it, and it was most likely related to the astray path. The 10th water thunder sword was more ferocious, and the demand for spiritual power was higher. People who did not have excellent talent, cultivating the 10th water thunder sword, could not display enough power. And the real 10th water divine thunder, although the power was weaker, it was easy to cultivate, and was more suitable for sneak attacks. Wang Daoyuan could deduce both sides of the 2 water thunder arts. The 9 water divine lightning was specially given to clansmen with exceptional talent to cultivate, while the 12 water divine lightning could be given to clansmen with average talent to cultivate. The most important thing now was to reforge the seal of mountains and rivers. He took out a 9-inch square white jade seal from his storage pouch. The seal was a true dragon. The seal of the great Zhao's emperor was engraved on the bottom of the seal, and the mountains and rivers of the state of Zhao were engraved on the side. He took out another beast skin book, which recorded the refining method of the seal of mountains and rivers. This was the refining method for a Tier 4 magic tool. If he wanted to upgrade it to Tier 5, he would have to deduce it himself. Yuanying entered the space of the spirit orb and began to deduce the refining method. He had quite a number of artifact forging inheritances in his possession, so it did not take much effort to deduce the level 4 artifact forging method to level 5. In less than a year's time, he managed to deduce the refining method for the 5th stage seal of mountains and rivers. Only 4 days had passed in the outside world. Yuanying returned to her body and began to reforge the seal of mountains and rivers. Because the seal of mountains and rivers was made of jade, she could not directly smash it with a hammer. She had to try her best to preserve the results of dozens of generations of nurturing and could not reforge it. Wang Daoyuan erased the original artifact inscriptions and channeled his spirit energy into the interior of the artifact seal, slowly inscribing the artifact inscriptions. After toiling for 5 days, she finally finished refining it. Then, she placed it into the weapon refining cauldron and stored it in the space of the spirit orb. 3 days later, more than 200 days had passed in the space of the spirit orb, and the seal of mountains and rivers was completed. Wang Daoyuan took out the seal of mountains and rivers. After injecting his spirit energy, the seal of mountains and rivers exploded with an earth-shattering aura. Benefiting from the spirit vein origin and 10,000 years of refinement, the power of the seal of mountains and rivers was still extremely strong. It should be able to surpass most lower-grade level 5 artifacts. Resisting Yuanying's heavenly tribulation was just a piece of cake. After being nurtured in the weapon refining cauldron for such a long time, the grade of the artifact seal of mountains and rivers had already recovered to lower-grade level 5. Wang Daoyuan sent a message to Zhao Jinghua, telling him that the seal of mountains and rivers had been upgraded to level 5. Half an hour later, he arrived at the Jade Spring Peak from Clear Glass City. Wang Daoyuan took out the seal of mountains and rivers and a beast skin book. The seal of mountains and rivers has been refined. Also, I have deduced the refining method to level 5. In addition, your Zhao clan's blooming water divine lightning has gone astray. When your Zhao clan has a Yuanying cultivator, you will naturally understand. Right now, the Zhao clan's path is unconventional, but its power is not bad. There are no problems. Regardless of whether it was Emperor Zhao or Zhao Jinghua who had successfully formed their nascent souls, they could all see the problem with the blooming water divine lightning. Now that he had pointed it out, it could be considered a favor. Zhao Jinghua was somewhat astonished. After a moment of daze, he received the seal of mountains and rivers and the beast skin book. Many thanks for the advice, retired emperor. The entire Zhao clan will remember it. After repeatedly expressing his thanks, he left the Jade Spring Peak and returned to the capital of Zhao, Longyu City. Wang Daoyuan was not in a hurry to cultivate the blooming water divine lightning. Instead, he continued to raise his cultivation. A year later, news came from Zhao that Zhao Jinghua had successfully formed his nascent soul. Not long after, news came from Song that the Song Emperor, Song Yan, had also successfully formed his nascent soul. In Zhao, Wang Shui personally went to congratulate them. Wang Daoyuan also asked him to bring 10 nascent cultivating pills and 29 death soul returning pills. The appearance of level 5 spirit qi in Beiyuan Xiaofan was too recent. Even the top factions had not been able to cultivate level 5 spirit fields. Even if they still had the seeds to refine the nascent cultivating pills, it would still take 2,000 to 3,000 years to harvest. These pills were also rare treasures for a cultivator who had just entered yuanying. As for Song, it did not have a good relationship with Yen. Song Yan's yuanying ceremony did not invite Yen, so there was naturally no need for them to send gifts. After cultivating on the Jade Spring Peak for 7 years, Wang Daoyuan's body shone with a purple-gold light. As time passed, the purple-gold light did not fade. Instead, it became more and more dazzling. Even the underground cave's array formation could not hide this light. At the top of the Jade Spring Peak, the purple-gold light began to appear. In the cave, Wang Daoyuan's yuanying appeared above his head. The 7-inch tall yuanying was constantly absorbing spiritual power to strengthen itself. It finally grew to a height of 9.5 inches before stopping. The purple-gold light slowly faded and soon returned to normal. The yuanying's small face was full of smiles. It could not even open its eyes. It played on the top of his head for a while before disappearing into his body. Wang Daoyuan woke up and sensed his cultivation. It took me more than 30 years and more than 100 nascent cultivating pills. I also extracted a lot of spiritual power from the lava and the space of the spirit pearl. I finally broke through to the late stage of yuanying. With my current strength, I shouldn't need to use Yinglong's demon-slaying sword to kill the Grand Demon King. Unfortunately, these guys did not show up. After consolidating his cultivation for 2 days, the spirit vein in the space of the spirit pearl had also risen to superior grade level 5. The 5 spiritual fires had absorbed a lot of gifts from heaven and earth. The special energy was replenished, and its grade gradually caught up. The life spiritual fire seed fire had already broken through to superior grade level 5. The red sun true fire seed fire was only a step away from superior grade level 5. The other 3 seed fires were also middle grade level 5. The mutant arowana's cultivation had also reached the peak of level 3. Apart from the reverse scale on its throat, the arowana's entire body was as black as ink and emitted a strong yin energy. Its body had grown to more than 3 feet long, and 2 forked dragon horns had grown on its head. Its head was half fish and half dragon. It would probably need to break through to level 4 before its head could completely turn into a dragon. Wang Daoyuan also fed it a lot of jade dragon algae, but its cultivation showed no signs of breaking through. Yun-Yi and the soul-chasing bee king were also at the peak of level 3. They had no intention of breaking through. On the other hand, Blackie's cultivation was on the verge of breaking through. All these years, it had been eating the beast blood strengthening pills refined from the blood essence of ancient beasts. The effects were still very obvious. When Blackie broke through, it would be a good time for Yun-Yi and the others to absorb some gifts from heaven and earth. It was also beneficial for them to break through. Chapter 848. After breaking through to the late stage of yuanying, if he wanted to break through to the peak stage of yuanying, not only would he need more resources and spirit energy, he would also need to have a better understanding of the laws. The time required would be much longer than breaking through to the late stage of yuanying. Cultivating it would not be of much use for the time being. Since he had obtained the 10th water divine thunder, a technique that he had dreamed of in his early years, he naturally had to study it well. Back then, he had cultivated the earth divine lightning to the 4th level. Now that he was cultivating the 10th water divine lightning, he had some foundation. With his late-stage yuanying cultivation, it was not difficult for him to cultivate a peak stage of the 4th level. In just 5 days, he had cultivated the 10th water divine lightning to the 9th level. He cultivated the 10th water divine lightning. He was not good at facing enemies head-on, but he was good at attacking from behind. He used water spirit energy to condense a spirit energy ball with a diameter of 3 inches. This spirit energy ball was almost colorless and transparent. If he was not prepared in advance, it would be hard to see with the naked eye. In addition, his water spirit energy had the effect of blocking divine sense with the 10th water death flame. If he fought on the sea, he could also hide the 10th water divine lightning underwater. Without special abilities or secret techniques, it would be very difficult to discover this method. He threw the 10th water divine lightning in his hand at a rock with a diameter of 1 foot in the cave. The entire 10th water divine lightning directly penetrated into the rock. In an instant, the rock split into 2 halves, and the inside was shattered into pieces. Wang Daoyuan was very satisfied with this result. The water element was good at penetrating. Whether it was a human or a demon, the weakest part was always the internal organs. This 10th water divine lightning could penetrate into the cracks of the rock. Naturally, it could also penetrate into the bodies of humans and demon beasts. By concentrating all the power on the opponent's weakest point, the lethality would naturally be very strong. Especially when facing an opponent with strong defense, the 10th water divine lightning would be very effective. Then, he followed the Zhao family's train of thought and deduced the 9 water divine lightning, and cultivated it to the 9th level. This time, he did not dare to use it in the underground cave. Instead, he came to the sky beheading mountain range. He found a relatively spacious area and cast the 9 divine lightning of water on the small hill. After a muffled sound, the top of the hill instantly disappeared. The burst of water spirit energy swept over a radius of 300 miles. If there was a golden core cultivator in this area, they would be seriously injured. Of course, the 9 divine lightning was still a peak 4th tier spell. The power displayed was naturally inferior to genuine 5th tier spells, but it was still quite impressive. From the cultivation method, it could be seen that each of the 5 elements divine lightning had its own characteristics. The first 6 levels should be more or less the same. They only imitated the might of lightning and did not involve the application of laws. The last 3 levels corresponded to the Golden Core realm. Although Golden Core cultivators could not control the laws, they still had to imitate them. The 5 elemental divine lightning was a combination of the 5 elemental laws and the lightning elemental laws. Different elemental laws would naturally produce different lightning techniques. The 9 divine lightning of water pursued explosive and destructive power, while the explosive power of water could only be accumulated by quantity. If he wanted more power, he would have to consume more spiritual energy. The Zhao family's innate talent was still pretty good. Wanting to overcome the natural flaw of the unconventional sword, they created the Blooming Water Thunder Sword. This move. The combination of the thunder technique and the Tao of sword cultivation greatly increased the power. The Wang family did not have the inheritance of combining the thunder technique and the sword cultivation technique. Wang Daoyuan himself did not need this thing, nor did he have the time to deduce this thing. Seeing this blooming water divine lightning, Wang Daoyuan thought of the 5-colored flame bead that appeared at the end of the Yuanying heavenly tribulation. Before it appeared, he could contend with the divine ability tribulation. Once it appeared, all his means were instantly broken through. Wang Daoyuan had always wanted to create this kind of spell, but he never had a clue and did not know how to start. Now that he had cultivated the blooming water divine lightning, Wang Daoyuan suddenly had some ideas. The thunder technique was similar to the power of the heavenly tribulation. If he could find all the 5 elements divine lightning, he could deduce it to the 5th level. Then he could think of a way to fuse the 5 elements divine lightning. Maybe he could reproduce the power of the 5-colored flame bead. First, he could deduce the blooming water divine lightning to the 5th level. The fire divine lightning and earth divine lightning could also be repaired according to his own ideas. As for the metal divine lightning and wood divine lightning, in the 70,000-year history of Beiyuan Xiaofan, there had never been a cultivator who had used this method. The 5 elements divine lightning was deduced by the 5 elements divine monarch using his own divine ability. The 5 elements divine lightning were connected and should be able to cooperate with each other. Even if there was a fragment, using the blooming water divine lightning as a reference, the deduced things would be more or less the same, and the connection between them would still be there. If there was no fragment to point the way and he deduced from nothing, the difference would be huge. The possibility of fusing the 5 elements divine lightning was next to zero. After seeing the power of the blooming water divine lightning and the 9th water divine lightning, Wang Daoyuan came to the easternmost part of Fallen Dragon Ridge. Just as he landed, the Thunder Ape leaped over. This fellow's cultivation was also stuck at the peak of the 3rd level. After all, it was not a pure horned Thunder Ape. If it wanted to break through, it would be restricted by the Black Ape bloodline in its body. It extended a hand to Wang Daoyuan. Naturally, Wang Daoyuan knew what it meant and took out a jar of 100-fruit wine. This 100-fruit wine's wine formula was obtained from the Thunder Ape's inherited memories. Seeing this thing, the Thunder Ape's eyes went wide. It hurriedly snatched the wine jar and opened it to drink a few mouthfuls. Its face revealed an intoxicated expression, and it sealed the wine jar again. This was unprecedented. In the past, when the Thunder Ape obtained wine, it would drink it all in one gulp. Now, it actually stopped after drinking a little. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "No need to be so frugal. You break through to the 4th level as soon as possible and help me comprehend lightning attribute laws. I'll give you more 100-fruit wine." With the Thunder Ape's current bloodline concentration, breaking through to the 4th level might very likely awaken a lesser divine ability. Lesser divine abilities were the elementary utilization of laws in the first place. One could comprehend lightning laws from it. Rank 5 spells and cultivation methods all needed to be combined with laws. Wanting to deduce the 5 elements divine lightning to the 5th level, one must comprehend lightning attribute laws. Laws were still different from verve and true intent. Verve and true intent were also derived from laws. Just like the Azure Dragon's verve, this was something formed by the fusion of many kinds of laws grasped by the dragon race. It had already undergone a qualitative change and had similarities with laws, but there were also huge differences. Rank 5 spells could have no verve, but they must have laws. Of course, with both, the power was even more powerful. As a penta-spirit root cultivator, Wang Daoyuan had already comprehended the 5 elements laws. Improving the 5 elements divine lightning was easy, but when it involved the 3 attributes, it was more strenuous. Although he fused fire and wood attribute spirit chi into lightning attribute spirit chi, it also contained a trace of lightning laws. Under the premise of not having a lightning attribute spirit root, it was not easy to rely on spirit chi to comprehend laws. The original 5 elements divine lightning was only at the peak of the 4th level. Perhaps it was because lightning laws were not easy to comprehend. If there was a lightning attribute Yuaniing cultivator or a lightning attribute cultivator with lesser divine abilities, it would be much easier to comprehend lightning laws. Master needed to guard the southern wasteland, and his younger brother was cultivating in seclusion. Moreover, comprehending lightning laws also required a very long time. Who had the time to constantly show him laws? The Thunder Ape was easier to talk to. As long as there was wine, it would do anything. He had stayed here for more than 2 years, serving the Thunder Ape with 100-fruit wine every day. This spirit wine was indeed from its inherited memories. It was extremely beneficial to the Thunder Ape's cultivation. In more than 2 years, it drank more than 300 jugs of 100-year-old 100-fruit wine. This fellow had already fallen into a deep sleep. It seemed like it was about to break through to the 4th level. Wang Daoyuan had been deducing the earth divine lightning and fire divine lightning for more than 2 years. Because repairing the incomplete version might be very different from the original version, it still needed to be constantly corrected. After another half a year, the Thunder Ape finally woke up. Not long after it woke up, tribulation clouds began to appear in the sky. Wang Daoyuan gave it some healing pills and a low-grade 4th-level defensive Dharma artifact before retreating far away. The tribulation clouds continued to expand and finally expanded to a diameter of about 25 kilometers. The heavenly might also covered 20 kilometers. Soon, a bolt of lightning fell from the heavenly tribulation. The Thunder Ape's body was also flickering with lightning. It directly endured the tribulation and was actually unharmed. A lightning attribute spirit beast's resistance to heavenly tribulation was really remarkable. The first 6 bolts of tribulation did not affect it much. It only took out a shield to block the 7th bolt of tribulation. After 3 bolts of tribulation, it only lost 2 shields. The Thunder Ape survived the Golden Core tribulation unscathed. The tribulation clouds in the sky did not dissipate. Instead, they were surging violently. After 15 minutes, a giant ape with golden fur and a single horn on its head descended from the tribulation clouds. It was over 30 meters tall. This was the Horned Thunder Ape. The Thunder Ape's bloodline heavenly tribulation had descended. As long as it survived, the Horned Thunder Ape's bloodline in its body would improve greatly. It would also awaken the Horned Thunder Ape's lesser ability to control lightning. Chapter 849. There were many Wang clansmen cultivating in Fallen Dragon Ridge, and one of them was even a Zifu realm cultivator. His name was Wang Tongyuan, and he was the great-great-grandson of Wang Shouhong. He didn't inherit the great ancestor's talent in alchemy, but he wasn't weak in battle. He was very talented and had 2 spirit veins. His main spirit vein was an 8-inch water spirit vein, and he also cultivated the overturned sea art. He was only 150 years old, but he was already at the middle stage of the Zifu realm. He wasn't far from the late stage. At this rate, there was a high chance that he could reach core formation before he was 200 years old. With such talent, the Wang clan could borrow contribution points and cultivate all the way to the Golden Core stage. The Thunder Ape's breakthrough caused a huge commotion, so Wang Tongyuan naturally came to take a look. Seeing Wang Daoyuan nearby, he hurried over and bowed. "Greetings, 7th great-grandfather." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand. "No need to be so polite. Core formation won't be a problem for you. Now you can watch the Thunder Ape's tribulation. It'll be helpful in the future. By the way, what's your Zifu anomaly?" Wang Tongyuan cupped his hands. "My Zifu anomaly is the Deep Sea Ink Flood Dragon." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "That's not bad. It's very suitable for you to cultivate our Wang clan's overturned sea art. You can also cultivate some body tempering techniques in the future. You can discuss this with the clan leader." Wang Daoyuan naturally wanted him to learn the true dragon body tempering art. Any cultivator whose Zifu anomaly was a true dragon or a true dragon was suitable for this technique. The two stopped talking and carefully watched the battle between the Thunder Ape and the Giant Ape. The Thunder Ape didn't cower in the slightest in the face of the 30-meter-tall Giant Ape. Its body instantly grew to 30 meter tall, and it was even taller than the Horned Thunder Ape. The 2 Giant Apes didn't use any fancy techniques. They didn't even use any spells. Their bodies were wrapped in blue lightning-type spiritual energy, and they began to fight in close combat. They didn't even bother to dodge, and each of their punches landed squarely on their opponent's body. As a late Yuanian cultivator, Wang Daoyuan's cultivation was much higher than theirs, so he didn't think they were that strong. Wang Tongyuan felt especially shocked, and even a little scared. Wang Daoyuan explained, "The Thunder Ape's bloodline is second only to a divine beast. In a battle of the same level, it doesn't lose to a divine beast. This was his bloodline heavenly tribulation, and its power was even stronger than the minor divine ability tribulations of human cultivators. You don't have a special constitution, so you only need to go through 9 heavenly tribulations to form your gold core. Moreover, you can use a Tier 4 magic tool to block it, and you can pass through it completely unharmed. Wang Tongyuan nodded woodenly and continued to watch the battle between the Thunder Ape and the Giant Ape of Heavenly Tribulation, hoping to learn something from it. The Thunder Ape quickly fell into a disadvantageous position. It could only passively take a beating, and it was difficult for it to effectively counterattack. 15 minutes later, the Thunder Ape's spiritual energy was almost exhausted and it fell to the ground. The Giant Ape of Heavenly Tribulation rode on its body and hit it. The Thunder Ape did not give up. It used its physical strength to burn its blood essence to resist. A quarter of an hour later, the tribulation clouds in the sky stopped rolling, and the Giant Ape could no longer replenish its spiritual energy. It no longer fought the Thunder Ape with its fists and legs. Instead, its entire body floated in the air and was wrapped in dazzling electricity. The Giant Ape turned into a blue ball of light with a diameter of more than 30 meters. Bolts of lightning struck the Thunder Ape's body from the ball of light. After more than 10 bolts of lightning, the Thunder Ape fainted. The blue ball of light formed by the Giant Ape of Heavenly Tribulation did not give up. It smashed towards the Thunder Ape. With a loud boom, the ball of light scattered into countless lightning bolts and swam around the Thunder Ape's body. At this time, the tribulation clouds in the sky had begun to turn golden, and the heavenly might had disappeared. Wang Daoyuan immediately released Yinglong to absorb the remaining electricity on the Thunder Ape's body. Yinglong still looked down on the power of the heavenly tribulation. It reluctantly flew to the Thunder Ape's body and absorbed the lightning bolts that were still swimming around. The Thunder Ape had not drunk the 100-fruit wine for nothing in the past 2 years. Its physical body had been greatly improved. Under the bloodline heavenly tribulation, it still retained a lot of vitality. However, there was not a single strand of white hair left on its body, and a layer of its skin was also burnt. Golden raindrops quickly fell from the sky. The Thunder Ape was nourished by the gifts of heaven and earth, and its vitality rapidly increased. A quarter of an hour later, the Thunder Ape woke up with golden hair all over its body. It opened its mouth and said, "Master, let Tongyuan and Yunyi also absorb some gifts of heaven and earth." Wang Daoyuan was a little surprised. How can you speak human language when you haven't transformed? He did not stay idle. He directly took out Yunyi, Dahe, the dragon fish, and the soul-chasing bee's king bee. These guys were also very excited when they saw the gifts of heaven and earth. They ran directly into the area covered by the auspicious clouds. Wang Tongyuan did not need to be told and flew over by himself. The Thunder Ape said with a smile, "Apes are the most intelligent of the demon clan. I've eaten a lot of demon soul grass before. This demon soul grass can improve the intelligence of demons. It's not surprising that I can speak. My body shape is similar to that of a human, so I can use magic weapons. Now that I can speak, there's no need for me to go through the tribulation." This made Wang Daoyuan overjoyed. He naturally knew that the demon soul grass could improve the intelligence of demons. However, Wang Daoyuan had never expected that the demon race would be able to speak the human language without undergoing the transformation heavenly tribulation. Dahe and Yunyi had eaten a lot of demon soul grass. After they broke through to the 4th level, there should be hope for them to speak the human language. After Dahe absorbed the gifts of heaven and earth, its spiritual energy fluctuations became stronger and stronger. The spiritual energy fluctuations of Yunyi and the dragon fish also began to change. This was a sign that they were about to break through. An hour later, the gifts of heaven and earth ended. Dahe completely fell into a deep sleep. Yunyi, the dragon fish, and the soul-chasing bee's king bee also showed signs of breaking through. When Dahe broke through, they could absorb some more gifts of heaven and earth. Wang Daoyuan put Dahe and Yunyi into the spiritual pearl and took out a jar of 100-fruit wine. Thunder Ape, I want to comprehend the law of thunder. Now I can only ask for your help. As long as I can comprehend the law of thunder, there will be plenty of 100-fruit wine. The Thunder Ape took the wine jar and drank a few mouthfuls. As long as there is wine, you can do whatever you want. Okay, you can attack me with the thunder technique. Show me how much strength you have. The Thunder Ape did not stand on ceremony. It waved its hand and shot out a bolt of lightning. Wang Daoyuan used his divine sense to trap this bolt of lightning and carefully felt the power and laws in it. Then, he let this bolt of lightning hit his body. A low-grade 4th-level magical power could not cause any harm to Wang Daoyuan. He used fire and wood spiritual energy to fuse into thunder spiritual energy and used this spiritual energy to imitate the law of thunder in the Thunder Ape's technique. The man and the ape would drink some spiritual wine when they were tired. When their spiritual energy recovered, they would continue to fight. After more than a month, Wang Daoyuan mastered the law of thunder. Although using pure thunder attribute techniques would still have the disadvantage of slow speed and insufficient power. However, using the 5 elements divine thunder did not have this problem. The 5 elements divine thunder incorporated a part of the law of thunder into the spells of the 5 elements. It was still mainly based on the law of thunder. After comprehending the law, he left 10 jars of 100-year-old 100-fruit wine to the Thunder Ape and returned to the underground cave of the Jade Spring Peak. Yuanying entered the space of the Spirit Pearl and tried to deduce the 10th water divine thunder to the 5th level. The law of thunder and the law of 5 elements were complete. The rest was not much different from deducing ordinary spells of the 5 elements. It only took a month to deduce the 5th level of the 5 elements divine thunder. He also made some improvements so that there were no obvious flaws. Of course, the spell that had just been deduced definitely had many shortcomings. It still needed to be perfected slowly and gradually improve these shortcomings. He took out the rib bone of a 5th-level demon beast from the space of the Spirit Pearl. The owner of this bone was the Chongdiao. The Chongdiao was also a dignified Chongdiao when he was alive, although he died in an undignified manner. However, for his remains to be the first target of the 5th-level 10th water divine thunder to destroy, it could be considered as helping him to be dignified. Wang Daoyuan condensed a nearly transparent water attribute spiritual energy ball in his hand and inserted it into the rib bone. A dull sound was heard. The surface of the rib bone was not damaged at all. He blew on the rib bone and the bone instantly turned into bone powder. To be able to directly destroy the bones of a low-grade 5th-level ancient beast, not to mention the internal organs, this was definitely a 5th-level technique. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.